But it's over now. You're finally going down alone.
All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our part 2 Naruto discussion. This is the Shippuden part, so we're going to be focusing more on that over part 1. I have my panel here today. I'm Renegade Operative, and I'm going to introduce Andre first.
Yo, Dr. Bioa. Hi, this is Andre B. Venom. Yeah, we finally got to Naruto Shippuden. This has been a podcast I've been very excited for probably since last year for a while, like last few months. Was on the first Naruto podcast, but definitely on this one, so this is going to be a really fun one for y'all to enjoy.
Next up is Drillbit. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Well, hey everyone. I didn't make it to the first one, but glad that I made it to this one since I had more stuff to say about it. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
Justin, introduce yourself, good sir.
Believe it, we've got filler and more filler for you. Also, a couple hundred episodes.
41 fucking %. Goddamn, I can't believe it after looking back at it. Next up is Rocker. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Hello, I'm finally back on Naruto Part 2. I've been looking forward to this since Part 1. Sadly, I wasn't on Part 1, but what you gonna do? But I am ready.
And last but not least, we have Shug. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Hello. It's been a couple months. This pod has been delayed so many times, but finally, we are here to discuss this goddamn part, and I'm excited for it because I missed out on the first part also. So here's hoping that we can perfectly go through part 2 also.
Yeah, even though it's just like the last time I went back and I had to watch like half of it, it was 500 episodes, dude. Oh my god. But we are here and we're going to get into the first question. How did you initially feel about the time skip with Shippuden going into part 2 from the first one and how that ended? What was your initial reaction? And did Shippuden live up to the hype for you? And we're going to go with Rocker first.
Oh, fuck, I'm actually leading off. Yeah, but getting excuse me. I actually was looking forward to the time skip because I could tell there was still more stories to be told, loose ends to be tied up, lore to be given, and all that. It was well worth it. And if it lived up to the hype, certain parts yes, certain parts no. But overall, I just watched it from the point of view of somebody who thoroughly enjoys watching animated content. It gave us a lot of awesome fight scenes, some kind of sucky fight scenes, way too much filler, and just a few of those brain dead Naruto moments that you know and love. But yes and no is my answer to if it lived up to the hype. Yes, man, no, and that's really it.
It is your turn, Justin. What do you think of the time skip and everything they established so far for Naruto Part 2?
I was already used to time skips by that point, mainly thanks to, going from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, so it's like typical sort of thing. I mean, I never mind a good time skip. So, like, sometimes there's just a lot of shit that you gotta set up and then tell, like, in between, or just anything like that. So I mean, seeing him go from freaking wearing bright ass orange and being loud as shit to now being taller and actually wearing some black with that orange was really good to see come like the first couple episodes, because it was a fucking whiplash when you go from how he was before. And considering what was mentioned before, what the show gave us, yeah. God, I mean, obviously that's for deeper into the podcast, but just a lot of ups and downs with the series as a whole, and just everything during its time on both like the manga, but God, especially the anime with all that shit. So I'm gonna also go with a yes and no, because there were points where it did get a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm not gonna downplay like all the good shit that came out of it. So yeah, time skips are never a bad idea as long as they're actually done correctly.
Drill, how about you? What did you think of the initial time skip between part 1 to part 2?
Right. Honestly, I really liked it mainly because part one kind of ended on a bit of a downer. I mean, they couldn't get Sasuke back, and then Naruto felt he was too weak to get him, so he felt the only step to go is just to get stronger and join up with Jiraiya, which I thought it was a great book end of part one. And plus, it kind of felt like they were able to kind of start over again and give everyone like new designs and new abilities, like with all the other ninjas. Albeit, I was hoping that with a new part, maybe they explore like more underutilized characters, or you know give us more cool fights. I mean, like the Sound Ninja, like the Sasuke retrieval arc, you saw Kiba and Choji fight, so maybe they would have had Shino fight too. But yeah, if you know what happens in Shippuden, well, yeah, that's the part that really disappointed me. But like we've said before, there is a lot of ups and downs to Shippuden. There's just certain parts I wasn't a fan of, but I still liked it for the most part. That's just my brief thoughts on it without going too in depth.
Andre, it is your turn. What do you think of the time skip between part 1 to part 2, and did it live up to the hype in your honest opinion?
Okay, honestly, so I was actually really excited for the time skip with for Naruto because after part one, and I was like, I wonder how they're gonna go from there. Like since Naruto went off to train with Jiraiya for 2 straight years, and I, for the most part, like early on, I really did. I was pretty excited to see Naruto back in action. Seeing Sakura a lot stronger now. She definitely learned like super strength and healing. It was also really cool to see like the rest of Naruto's friend group grow up as well, along with Sasuke sort of, I guess, finally coming into his own compared to like part one, where he spent most of that time sort of, trying to kill Itachi, feeling inferior to Naruto, where in Shippuden, he definitely really came into his own. I had a great time watching most of Shippuden, so my relationship was kind of weird, where it's like, I really liked it at the beginning. I feel like I started to fall off it a little bit over time. I think around maybe the Kage Summit arc and the War arc, I got back into it. But yeah, by the time the show was like close to ending, I was like, I think I was just like really confused. Like it was either feelings of confusion. It was like a lot of feelings of confusion, just really mixed on how everything was going. Like I still enjoyed my time with the anime, but I think the latter portion had a lot of problems. But I did enjoy my time with Shippuden. It just didn't really. I do think part one is better in some areas though. It's the pacing, but that's really just me. And yeah, but yeah, overall I'd say it lived up to the hype mostly.
All right, it's my turn. Did it live up to the hype? I would say same answer as mostly everyone else. In certain segments, it did. There were some interesting battles. A lot of stuff going on with the two main characters, Sasuke and Naruto, and their conflicts being on a more broader horizon. But and I felt part one ended perfectly. It needed to get this second part to have the resolutions of, okay, now Sasuke's going to Orochimaru, and then what's gonna happen there, and then Naruto's going to train with Jiraiya, and they get like more mature and stronger over time, and it leads to a pretty explosive opening. But I feel the issue with this part is that number one, they undermine a lot of other characters. It's like someone said, once they got to the war arc, you really start to see that it's the Sasuke and Naruto show at that point, and it felt like the variety of other characters kind of got a little bit undermined because of how strong they were getting, especially with questions that we'll answer later on. Ashra, Indra, sorry about that, I had a cough, but there are things that they introduce where obviously it has some of the Dragon Ball effect, where oh, now these two characters are just as strong enough to deal with this one threat. And I kind of felt a little indifferent about that, as well as some of the long episodes. I mean, we talk about a very good opening, and then it's a lot of flashbacks, and you're gonna be getting a lot of them, and more, and more, and more. And as I was watching it, I was just kind of like, holy shit, how many stories are we going to fill in the blanks here and then get to the main plot, which is like main character city? But I did enjoy my time with it, but it's as like someone was saying when they were talking about this particular part, the pacing in part one is just so much better in part two, and that was my only big issue with it. I felt like if they would have stuck the landing with the ending and shaved down a few episodes, it would have been completely fine, perfect. But you know, I had fun with it for what it was. It was just, you know, some parts that were kind of dragging. But Shug, it is your turn. What do you feel about part two and your initial reaction to it?
So my introduction to it was through the manga. So I didn't really watch Naruto in terms of TV because like whenever I discovered it, it was like the tuning exams, and then after that, I kind of just lost track of it. So I started reading it. So like the time skip wasn't as much as like let's say as an anime viewer, it wasn't too much of a wait or too much of like of excuse me overhyping myself kind of deal. Um, I felt like the transition over from let's say I think Naruto like regular Naruto ended in like volume 28, 29, and by volume 30 that's when Shippuden kind of like picks up. So um I was more excited to see more characters. I feel like they kind of just, you know, they introduced all of these characters in the first half, and then on the second half, they kind of just slowly and completely just got rid of them completely, like entirely. You know, you rarely see any of characters, and like, I think the character you see the most of, besides like, you know, the regular three, is like Shikamaru and like Konohamaru at times, and like Kakashi, of course, Yamato. You know, and you don't really get to see as many other characters show off as much as they did, especially in the Sasuke retrieval arc. So I do feel like they should have done better with how they did their characters overall, and I feel like some of the fillers that they did, you know, I think they should have been added to the actual story instead of it being like fillers. Because some of the like the Akatsuki stuff with the tails, none of that was like in the books, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you know, you have like all these random fillers of explaining other shit, and then having these characters be or side characters come out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the most powerful motherfucker in this one episode or two episodes," and then after this, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna be able to you know do whatever. Besides, like I guess Guy, I think Guy was probably like the most prominent you know side character that did shit, and yeah, I think it's more of like disappointment in terms of how they did some characters because I didn't really overhype myself over it, especially at the time. So my excitement was high, but my disappointment was probably a bit higher with how it all ended up going uh through like fuck like 10 years of just Naruto Sasuke, you know, going at each other and not much of anybody else kind of deal. So I would arrange it also like a yes and no, but like leaning towards more of a disappointment, really.
We are moving on to question number 2. Let's talk about the top 3 favorite battles in Naruto Part 2. List off your favorites and explain what made them so good, story invested, and well animated, in your opinion. And first, we're going to go with Drill Bit.
Oh, damn. You're kind of putting me a bit on the spot. Uh, eh. Oh, you can hear me fine, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. For me, like, in no particular order, probably my favorites were, like, obviously I'm gonna pick the first one being Sasuke versus Deidara. Mainly because it felt like the most traditionally part one Naruto to me, where it's more like them actually fighting like ninjas and not just like the later parts where it's just like throw like OP jutsus at each other. And mainly because Sasuke actually had a really tough time beating him. And even then, I don't even think. Well, yeah, he only barely beat him, and mainly because it kind of helped like tie into the character of Deidara because he really hated Itachi, and obviously since he was his brother, that's kind of why he even hated Sasuke as well. And although the only part I didn't like is like how Sasuke survives is mainly because he just summoned Monda at the last second even though he was running out of chakra. I just thought that was a bit bullshit. But honestly, I don't have problems with it. It's a really good fight. At least it's probably my favorite Sasuke fight. Even though most people would say when he fights Itachi the first time. And for me, probably the second one for me would be like Shikamaru and Hidan, and I guess like Kakashi and the others help him as well. But mainly because because the guy can't die and they have to figure out how to beat him. And also me and also how and I really like that one part where Hidan thought he had Shikamaru, but then he accidentally stabbed Kakazu because he used his own blood. So thought that was really cool. And he lost one of his own hearts. And he ends up defeating Hidan by just throwing him in, like keeping him stuck into that pit for like basically all of eternity. Although I'm pretty sure he died by now. But yeah, that's like the second best one for me. And then obviously the best one for me would probably be Pain versus Naruto. Mainly because Naruto finally achieves Sage Mode. He's he's able to go 1-to-1 with Pain, but even then he eventually almost gets overwhelmed by him, and the Nine Tails base and he had to go berserk in order to even to even be able to slow down Pain. And he doesn't. And the thing is that he's able to convince Nagato to just be able to bring everyone back, and that I guess he didn't defeat him in a traditional sense, but it was still a really good fight. All memes aside, what people make of it. But yeah, that's pretty much my side of it.
Andre, it is your turn. Top 3 favorite fights.
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, you know what? I really got one special mention. Kakashi versus Obito in the war. Kakashi and Obito get transported to that other dimension. I think that fight is just amazing. It's incredible. Like the animations, the music, and how it flashes back to Obito and Kagashi's childhood when they used to be teammates, but now in the present they're enemies. It's a really beautiful animated fight. I do kind of like how Obito actually manages to like surprise Kakashi, but Kakashi manages to like electrocute him with she was a lightning blade. it was like a really cool techniques because Obito uses like I think like wood techniques and stuff like at least I remembered and yeah. I do like how it ends where Kakashi kills Obito through the chest with lightning blades, kind of like, a callback to how he killed Reen. That's one. Next one is I say my guy versus Madara. That fight was insane. It was for starters, guy was able to finally, shine because one of the problems with Naruto was like a lot of the characters later on in the war kind of got shafted, but guy actually came in clutch. Dude was like beating Madara's ass, and it's especially awesome in like Storm 4 where my guy like the my guy versus Madara fight in Storm 4 was insane where guy literally kicks Madara so high, literally into the moon, that as he's like falling back down to earth, he literally just gives him a thumbs up and like slams into the ground. I thought that was just really that just really sent chills down my spine. And then finally, I guess Naruto versus Pain as the normal answer. Like I said, it's definitely the peak of the entire series, at least for me, because Naruto not only learns stage mode, but he goes through a lot of character growth. Compare how far he's grown since like the very beginning of part one to now. It was really an awesome moment, especially when after he defeats Pain, he lets go of his hatred for Nagato. And he ends up becoming a hero of the Leaf Village, and that was like a story moment that just paid off beautifully. And that's really about it. There's a ton of other fights, but those are probably my top three I can think of at the moment.
Justin, it is your turn. Top 3 favorite fights.
There's so many fucking fights, man.
I know, believe me.
Yeah, much like before, I can't really go in any particular order, so I'm just gonna say some highlighted fights for me. So, this fucker already mentioned the Madara versus Guy fight, but no, that was a pretty holy shit moment because you think such a goofy guy like Guy, God, the fucking name, Jesus Christ, couldn't go up to someone like Madara by that point, but dead ass people actually thought Guy had a fucking chance. He did, but plot armor's gonna plot armor. And, even if you look closely at the scene where my guy turns into Night Guy, Kakashi's like, it's like, oh fuck, you might have. Oh my god, he's both impressed and also terrified at the same time. That's such a such a goofy motherfucker all of a sudden could go toe to toe with one of the strongest fucking shinobi in all of existence. And he's just like, where the fuck was this guy like 30 minutes ago? Or even the past 3 years. And what Andre's saying in the pocket chat is right. I'm like, I wonder that too, but anime, I guess, we consider some of the other shit that people survive in this. Because let's not forget what happens later on with when you gotta hand it to some people, if you know what I'm trying to say here. As short as it is, and this might bleed into a later question, but as short as it is, I do like where he fights I do like the fight with Naruto against the Nine Tails, where he gains control of it, mainly from like the impact and what happens with it, like the fight notwithstanding, but it's more so what we get from it that I'm more into it. Sometimes it's the things within a fight without the actual fighting part of the fight. Take a shot every time I said fight. And honestly, just because I think it's iconic, I still fuck with the Naruto Sasuke fight at the Valley of the End. Just because of the sense of finality. The whole series has been building up to just this one big moment, and they finally fucking get it. It is the epitome of like shonen anime, where sometimes in order to really get your point across, you need to punch the ever loving fuck out of each other, or in some cases, fucking energy move the hell out of each other. It's sometimes a real fucking good fight is all you need. And I'm also gonna give a single bonus mention to Ninja Storm 3 for turning a 30-second scene into probably one of the best fights in the entire game.
Rocker.
Just saying, mainly, especially because of the track that plays behind it, seeking answers.
Oh yeah.
Fucking wish that was in the anime, but I mean, I'll fuck with it being in Ninja Storm 3. At least you can go back and replay it over and over again.
I think they wanted it to be just a lot more impactful without music, so I guess it kind of fits, but, you know, I still like the scene regardless when they did it in the game. But, Rocker, it is your turn. Top 3 favorite fights.
Okay, there are plenty of fights to choose from, so can't really name like my own top 3, but I'll give you 3 that I thoroughly enjoyed. Fight number 1 will have to be Reanimated Madara versus the Shinobi Alliance. Because they think, oh man, we got this. We can handle this, and they see fucking Madara just fucking pop up, and they're like, we don't got this. Him showing up, bodying the entirety of it the entirety of the alliance from what I can remember, just sets that level of fear that I feel should be in any big over the top fucking fight scene. And he like I said, him just popping up, not exactly popping up, coming out of the coffin, seeing them all, and basically, to quote the youth of the nation, running a fade on all of them just lets you know everything that's been said about him is true. You better hope you're lucky, because if you're not, your ass is gonna be your ass is done. But fight number 2 would have to be Naruto versus Pain. I liked it because it showed us the level of ruthlessness that Nagato, who's the one puppeting the Pains, is fucking capable of doing. He'll use any means to attain fucking peace. And if that means destroying a village or two and killing thousands upon tens of thousands of people to do it, so be it. And also, as we saw Naruto basically Ren, remind me, what level of tails did he get to during that fight, if you remember?
6.
Thank you. He saw everything that happened, basically went nuts on, went basically right to 6, but he stopped. When I do, correct me if I'm wrong, but during that scene when he had stopped and everything, was that not the scene where he also met his father? But enough about that. But showed him basically getting to using Sage Mode to basically I'm sorry. See, it's his first use of Sage Mode. All he can do. It also pitted 2 of Jiraiya's best pupils. Nagato, who's the guy who's, like I said before, is the one controlling the Pains. One of Jiraiya's older students versus his most recent one, so it's a clash of ideals between his students. Okay. I absolutely butchered that one, but I'm just gonna go right to the last one. Guy versus Madara. Don't really think there's much I can say on this that hasn't already been said, but one thing that bears repeating: Might Guy, one of the goofiest motherfuckers in the series, nearly beats the living piss out of, nearly beats Madara, which is the strongest shinobi, the strongest resurrected shinobi at the time. Yeah, it just shows. Look at how far Guy was willing to go to protect people. It just shows you that the goofiest looking motherfuckers in the series could be some of the strongest, if not the strongest guy in there. And that's really all I got to say on that one. Thank you.
All right, it is my turn. So I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, this fight is a little bit of a massacre, but Madara versus the Shinobi Alliance, just absolute brutality. Once he just starts like skewering people and everything, and it just literally turns into, oh, now this guy's like awakened. We can't beat him. What's going on? So I really just liked how they built that villain up. It's one of the best introductions of Shippuden by far, with that fight of Madara and the Shinobi Alliance. Then I want to say Madara versus Guy, because one of the things I really liked about this fight is when he activated the eighth gate. You saw the desperation, like you saw the bones cracking, the skin sizzling, and everything. And Madara saying, "Oh, he's gonna try to end the attacks now with certain attacks." That's how you know Guy was like super serious. In seeing the bones just like crack open was fucking ridiculous as he kicked Madara in the ribs as well, and then it broke his ribs. It was a very brutal and very strong showing of a technique that was going to just be devastating no matter what, because remember, you do it, it kills you, but in this case they managed to do some life saving there. That's neither here nor there, but still, it was wonderful, it was amazing, it was cool, it was one of the most awesome moments that character will probably ever get in that show, and that's saying something considering so many characters they sidelined in this particular part. And then I would have to say, for my final favorite fight, I'm gonna go different, and I'm gonna say the Kage Summit battle, all of it, because look, while Sasuke is the most craziest person of all time to try to go into the Kage Summit and challenge every fucking body in there and say, look, I have EMS. I'm gonna try to be strong enough to kill everybody in here, and it is the craziest plot point for that character up until that point. So you got every Kage like fighting in the building, and Sasuke is going like after them, and the Raikage, of course, which I mean, I don't know why he tried to jump on some Amaterasu flame, but you get to see a good example of how the characters have improved in power as well as their danger level as to what the fuck is going on in there, especially with Raikage being saved, Sasuke about to be turned into a blender, a Saiyan, from being trapped in that cube. It was a lot going on, and I think it demonstrated some great powers when you really start to digest and see what these Kages, these like beyond level Kages, are actually capable of. So that's like one of my favorite fights within the series so far. And if I had an honorable mention, I would say I didn't put it as any of the rankings. I would say Valley of the End for Naruto and Sasuke, but only towards the end, because I said this in chat, when that fight first begins, it's literally like, what the fuck is going on? The characters are so OP now at this point. They are throwing everything. Planetary devastations. You got this, you got that, you got the Biju energy going on. I believe this is the equivalent of a visual overload in terms of powers, which is why I can see why people don't really like this fight that much compared to the more personal fight of part one. But the ending is fantastic because at a point they do my favorite thing. The powers they knock off. They all use all their chakra at this point, at least what they have left, as what they try to convey. And then it's like, all right, hand to hand, let's fight. Let's do some taijutsu. And I think that part was the best part of it because it showed the emotional weight of the fight going into it, and they've been fighting for like literally until from morning until dusk, which is fucking phenomenal. And they get all tired and they're punching each other and then they stop. And then it's like it feels like this is the climactic finish to everything. And I just love the whole montage of the characters and them sort of helping Naruto shape the Rasengan, and that was pretty cool. That was a cool moment. It was showing that the village was behind them all the way, and they were morphing from their kid forms to their teenager ones, and they clashed, and it was awesome. So I liked the ending battle of that part because there was a lot of symbolism there, and it was really good. Shook, it is your turn. What are your top three favorite fights in Shippuden? Shook? Is he aware? I think so. Well, we will. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
I
hear you.
can hear you fine.
Oh, he's
I'm
I
in.
was, I was saying the
Uh,
ninjas got to him.
No,
Oh,
yeah, they
yeah.
got me.
Oh,
So I basically had to switch my list a little bit because everybody went with Guy and Madara, so I'm just not gonna pick that fight. I love that fight. It's definitely one of my favorites, and I waited years for it to be animated. But I will say for sure my number one, if I didn't pick Guy versus Madara like everybody else, would be Kakashi versus Obito. I think Kakashi versus Obito is probably the most emotional fight in the entirety of the show, and besides like Shikamaru versus Idan. And Kakashi versus Obito, I wanted to watch this fight for so long because, as I said earlier, I read this first before I could even, watch it. And so, one of the volumes after Naruto, the original show ends, or like the first half, they give you the flashback of Kakashi when he was a little kid with the with Minato squad, and they do this whole flashback thing where they show you and introduce you to Obito, and we all know what happens to him. And so I it left me thinking of like, damn, you know, this kid looked cool. He was promising, and it's like, why would they just introduce him just to kill him off instantly, basically? Like it took 3 chapters just to kill him. And I remember fighting for years with people because as soon as I saw Toby, I was like, this has to be Obito. There was like nobody believed me. Everybody always thought I was going crazy. This is like 10 years of my life, and I was always kept saying, Toby is fucking Obito. Just watch. People thought I was crazy. Look what ended up happening. So whenever that got revealed and what's it called? He ended up, going around and trying to kill everything with Madara. I was like, damn, this dude is fucking crazy. And he seemed way too overpowered for Kakashi to even fight. So I was like, I'm not thinking that Kakashi's gonna fight him or anything, but they do end up fighting. And then they have this fight where it's just all their flashbacks to when they were kids. And you have all this entirety of the fight that was just amazing. And I think out of all the fights in the entire show, this is probably like the most well like choreographed in terms of like how it feels, how it goes, because it's literally hand to hand almost the entire time, and they don't really start using jutsus up until the end. So just having their raw emotions not being shown in their words, but with their fighting, was just I don't know, it was just amazing to watch, and it was like a straight up 5 minute fight. So reading it was completely different to watching it, basically. So I think I like watching it more than reading it because of all just the music. I think the music really helps this and makes this fight very emotional to watch. And we see how their friendship evolved in terms of how they both went different ways, especially with Obito quote unquote dying for 90% of Kakashi's life for 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a very interesting fight, very lovely fight to watch. Um, so definitely my number one. My number two, uh, I'll go with, just because it hasn't been mentioned, I would go with Datara versus Gara. Um, I think it's probably one of those like very underrated fights. There's not much that happens, but you gotta like think about the fact that Gara was protecting the entire city or the entire village, while fighting Datara. And this man fought him, just toe to toe, basically, while also protecting the entire village. So I think it's definitely one of like the really, really good early fights of the show, next to like Sasori and Sakura. But like that one for sure is probably one of my favorites from like early show Shippuden. And like I think for sure if that fight had a bit more of Gara not having to protect the village, I think it would have gotten a lot different. And maybe if Gara had like total control over Shukaku, it would be even cooler. There's a definitely like a what if situation with that fight for sure. And three, I think it's like a tie between Sasuke versus Itachi or Naruto versus Pain. I think both of these kind of like had the emotional factor in terms of Pain killing Jiraiya and Sasuke versus Itachi being like the whole plot point of that man's life. So I think for sure in terms of emotion, these two fights are definitely like up to par in terms of pure raw emotion. Animation wise, the Naruto versus Pain, very questionable, but overall still a really good fight to just to watch. And yeah, I think for sure these are like top three, I would say, and especially having Guy versus Madara, probably being like the greatest fight in the entire show. But overall, those are my three.
Next question is: there are multiple villains throughout the entirety of Naruto Shippuden. Which one is your favorite between Pain, Kaguya, Madara, Danzo, Obito, Sasuke, etc.? And we're gonna go with Andre first.
Top three. Was it? Which one was your favorite between Pain, Kaguya, Madara? That's a good question. Okay, to be extremely honest with you, probably Pain. I mean, the reason I really like Pain is because I think it was a really interesting take, because in a way, Nagato was a lot like Naruto. He didn't really, in a sense, he didn't really have much of a family, and you can argue that Conan's like Sakura and was the guy who goes like Sasuke, and Jiraiya was sort of like that father figure, and I really like this whole like dynamic where he's willing to achieve, like, he's leader of the Akatsuki, and he's willing to achieve peace in any means necessaries, and I think Pain's whole role in the story is like excellent because he kills Jiraiya, which one of the most beloved characters in the series. But not only that, but like it also causes Naruto to sort of like grow more as a character. He learns Sage Mode. He manages to essentially make peace with Pain. And on a side note, also I think Pain's abilities are just really cool. The six paths of Pain, just and along with all the animal summons. But yeah, I'd say I really like Pain a lot. I think he was a really awesome villain, and also Jiraiya versus Pain was a really good fight too. But I think that's maybe it. Would say moderate, but there's a reason I didn't say. And as for the other ones, I didn't really care for Donzo. Obito I'm like really split on. Obito I'm like really 50-50 on, but I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to go on like a tangent about it. But that's really about it for me.
Drill, it's your turn. What is your favorite villain in Shippuden?
Well, obviously Kaguya. No.
Oh my
On a
god.
serious note. But yeah, like on a serious note, yeah, the same as Andre being Pain because he felt like the most well-developed villain out of everybody. Yeah, obviously Obito is good, but it also the problem is that it also kind of fell into the worst part of Shippuden being the war arc. And, and I don't know, some of his motivations kind of fell flat for me, but Pain being the Jiraiya's student and then having to go and being basically getting battle hardened from all the terrible things that happened in like the Hidden Rain village with Nagata. Well, forget that guy's name who died. What was his name, Ren?
I think his name is Yahiko.
Yeah, with Yahiko dying, and then Nagato awakening the Renegade. Like the Renegade is also really cool as well. It's just a shame that we didn't see more of the Byakugan, but that's another story. But yeah, the Renegade was really cool, and honestly, the fact that he was able to destroy the entire village by himself was pretty scary. Like he pretty much like like he was willing to destroy the entire village to find Naruto, and also the fact and pretty much that they were kind of like complete opposites in a way. Honestly, Pain was always my favorite villain out of all of them. Mainly because he was just a lot more nuanced and in depth rather than just being kind of a straight up bad guy. And obviously the Naruto versus Pain fight probably being the best fight in the series for sure.
You done, Drill?
But yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, it is Justin's turn. Justin, what is your favorite villain throughout the entirety of Shippuden?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record because what has already been said about Pain, but on Andre over here, freaking in Pocket Chat, putting his cycle of hatred speech, and honestly, it's a good point. Like, there's nothing. I love me a good like dark reflection kind of characters. Like, this is what you could have been if you went down a different path, and it's also is like, why do you get to preach about peace and justice? He without he all being while being completely calm of the whole thing is just like your sentiments are fucking meaningless because you people go back on your shit anyway. It's like, my god. I love it when a villain can make a good point while also like while also being someone that at the end of the day has to be stopped in order for people to not get like in order for innocent people to not get killed, because there's just something about like there's something about being able to write an antagonist that can kick your ass, that can effortlessly just fucking just straight up kill a whole bunch of people, that can effortlessly destroy an entire fucking village, and at the same time, without missing a beat and just remaining stone cold, not Steve Austin kind 316 in your face, just give you a whole preaching speech, a well done one, by why how your morals are just as bad, because at the end of the day, where is your peace and justice? when push comes to shove. Sometimes it's not about the power of a villain, but also just what they can say to you in a single moment. Even better if they can just do it without skipping a beat, missing a beat, and just keeping to, like, at least in the English dub, just keeping to that tone the entire time. Because what right do you have? It's like, man, how do you, like, Kishimoto? Goddamn, I didn't see your game there, but I will concede to that. Again, I love me a good fucking antagonist like that shit. It's so difficult to get right, but when you do get it right, it hits you like fucking Truck-kun trying to isekai you into the world. I
Rocker?
had to make the joke.
God damn it. You just made me laugh. But Rocker, it is your turn. What is your favorite villain in Shippuden?
Oh god, there are so many good villains to choose from. You've got fucking Madara, Obito, Pain, fucking one that coming out of left field, Kabuto. Though he isn't my favorite villain, I'm just gonna have to say, honestly, my favorite villain had to be Obito. Excuse me. I mean, at first when we see him, he's introduced to us as Toby, at the time we think potentially mentally disturbed. Well, not potentially, he is mentally disturbed as Toby, member of the Akatsuki, who is barely serious, mostly just pranking or munching on little snacks or whatever. But once we saw him being able to basically phase in and out of reality through his ability and everything, something clicked in my mind. I'm like, okay, this guy's got potential. He could be a real problem later on down the line if he just isn't a side character. But then when we get to the point where he is revealed to be Kakashi's former friend and teammate Toby. Not Toby. Obito. We were just like, oh fuck. When we last heard of him, we thought he was dead, but nah, he's secretly. If memory serves, just a second. Notes. For like a lot of his actions have had fucking thunderous effects in the series, because number one, look at what he did when he attacked the Hidden Leaf Village, mask and everything with the Nine Tails the first time. We lost Naruto's mom, Naruto's dad, whole host of other people. And look at what the repercussions and everything had with that. Naruto was basically ostracized his entire life because of Obito. Excuse me again. And you did not see not Obito coming, because you thought originally he was dead, but no. And if you look, and just like Nagato, he's also could be an example of what Naruto could have become had a few different circumstances changed. Just like but to summarize it up, my favorite villain, Obito. You didn't see it. You have to admit, you did not see it coming. He had reasons for being angry. And yeah, I'm sorry, but my notes on this part were kind of all over the place. I apologize. But yeah, that's my favorite villain.
All right, it's my turn. I'm gonna go to the broken record, I'm gonna say pain. Um, you will know pain, and it's just he's really good for several reasons. It mostly peaked that arc, in my personal opinion, considering the backstory and the characters that were set up with it. Um, you learn that Nagato once again grew up, had these powers, and then considering the fact that he had the Renegade on his eyes and everything, Jiraiya went to train him. Then part of his team gets captured, and a desperate decision is made when Yahiko decides to impale himself on the blade and try to at least, save his team from committing the act of going and stabbing Hidan. Which is one of those moments where it's like now he drops the philosophy of, people don't deserve this, people don't deserve that, and he has that dark reflection once again, similar to how Sasuke sort of changed his ideals around for more power. But Pain operates clearly on a different basis. The fact that he not only went back and killed his old teacher Jiraiya, and then you saw those episodes of Naruto lingering around, like just clearly in hurt. Then you go to the destruction of the village, where he completely levels the Leaf Village, and it's just pandemonium everywhere. Kakashi actually dies in one of the episodes because he uses the Kamui, and he has like no chakra left. So because of that, he dies, and he does get revived like a little bit later, but still, there's one of those dire moments where it's like, holy shit, they took out like two main characters that you really care about and love. And obviously, we're going to talk about more of this. I'm sure it's going to be brought up in a question for the next one, where emotional moments. But clearly, what turns Naruto into the Six Tails, which is he's pinned down by Pain. Pain is giving the speech, obviously, and then here comes Hinata, and then you know what happens next. So because of the emotional turmoil between all of the characters, all of the deaths, and how they really went in on that one, I would have to say it's him. Not to say there isn't like a lot of high tier villain moments, but that's the only reason why I did not pick Madara over Pain, because the Pain arc was just so impactful and he was a part of it. So but he's no slouch until the end, which we'll talk about later, but it's unfortunate still. That's my favorite arc, and that's my favorite villain that embodies that so far, in my personal opinion. Next up is Shug. What's your favorite villain throughout the entire series of Shippuden?
People bringing me shit. Sorry. Uh, so I know the real villain of Naruto. Okay, the real villain of Naruto was Tobirama. None of this whole list of bullshit. Tobirama was the villain here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'll go with Pain. I think I'll go with Pain. I think Pain was definitely one of those characters that was very impactful with the series, for sure. Especially with the mystery behind him. You always feel like whenever he showed up in like the Akatsuki meetings and all that stuff, you would see him, all like ominous, with the weird eyes that we've never seen before, and like uh making him look like very mysterious. And you can see that he kind of looked like Naruto, if you're really being honest here. He had that, like short hair, short spiky hair kind of deal, and him having those like grayish purplish eyes, and it was just like, holy shit, who is this guy? What does this guy do? What is the mystery behind this dude? And like whenever we get to see him full blown pop in, quite literally, and just destroy uh the hidden leaf in one blow, was insane. And his whole fight with Naruto, and including even the fight with Jiraiya, it was, that Jiraiya is like a very powerful like shinobi, and then you see him kind of get bodied, really, whenever he encounters pain. So you're like, holy shit, this dude is even more powerful than Jiraiya, who at the time we would think is like the most powerful shinobi we know of on the show, at least, next to like Tsunade. Um, and excuse me, we see him finally pop in, and we go back to destroying the Leaf Village, and him just trying to goad Naruto into just losing his mind. So when we get to the point of him, giving him that speech and like practically, destroying Hinata for plot reasons, and Naruto just losing his fucking mind is just cinema, because we never see Naruto lose his mind like this, except maybe whenever he like fought Orochimaru. Yeah. So like um we see this kind of just full blown rage coming out of Naruto, and it was something crazy. It was something very emotional to see Naruto go to this kind of like depth in terms of rage. And so you see that whenever he channels, is getting channeled by his anger and losing control of everything, we see him gain more tails, and it's like more approaches into like the ninth tail. He's almost captured and all this kind of stuff by pain. And we see that he gets kind of just dialed back by his father, who is somehow, in the seal of the Nine Tails to control, his rage. But kind of just tells him like you need to take care of this power because this is the last time I can do this for you, kind of deal. So, it was a moment of, I would say, the turning point of the show, of where Naruto has reached a point where he's kind of stalled, really. And like even with the sage, it was again needed for plot. It was something that was kind of needed for him to fight this kind of power, but it was not the power that he needed for what was waiting. So for sure we see that the plot had to go further even after this entirely insane fight with so many emotions from both parties and the reader and watcher, that you're just sitting there like, how can this even like, how can this go even further than how great in this fight was. And even though the animation kind of ruined the fight a little bit, uh I would say that is possibly one of the best fights of the show for sure. And I think he was one of the better villains in the entirety of it, just because he drove Naruto to that point that not really anybody else had to this point in the show. And he's been through a lot. So, it was it was something different for sure to see this kind of villain.
And yeah, the animation, oh my god. Uh seeing Pain get beat down like he was a pincushion and it looked so out of whack. If that's one of the fights I could ever have remade in better modern animation, it would be that one. Cause fuck, man, it's so emotionally powerful, but Pain's face when he's punching down takes me out of it so hard. But I digress. I'm moving on to the next question here, and that is the most emotional moment or death for you in Naruto Part 2. And we will go with Andre first.
Most emotional death in Naruto Part 2. Man, moment, that's a good question. A lot. I think when Jiraiya was killed, because easily Jiraiya's death, because Jiraiya's death really changed the series, and also really changed Naruto a lot as a character. Because I remember when I first when I heard the news, or at least when I was watching the episode, my heart stopped, and especially the scene where Jiraiya was falling into the water, and after that, I was like, oh no. And pretty much when Naruto hears the news, he's in utter shock and just can't really believe it. And he ends up closing himself off to everyone and really sort of, becomes, he goes through a really bad depression for a little bit. And, he sits on the park bench at night and Haruka approaches him and that conversation they have, the heart to heart, was like, you can really tell that Haruka was definitely like a big brother figure in Naruto and always had his back. And Haruka tells Naruto, hey, even if Jiraiya's dead, you have, he'll always still be with you no matter what. And Naruto manages to recover from Jiraiya's death eventually and decides to learn Sage Mode. And he pretty much honors Jiraiya's wishes too by forgiving Nagato, which that's what, that's Naruto would do, he wouldn't hold a grudge forever. In fact, he was able to redeem Gaara in part one, so I'd say that moment really stuck out to me the most. I think another emotional moment was I guess Naruto meeting his mother, finally meeting his mother, like for the first time ever, and her recounting her story of how she met Minato and how she became pregnant with Naruto. It really hits the feels. I believe that's it, because yeah, I can't really think of much else, but that's the big one that comes to the top of my head. For like sad moments.
I'll go next. So it's a few of them, and I kind of alluded to one of them. I would say, in terms of emotional moments, I have three I'm gonna go by real quick. I'm gonna say Hinata sticking up for Naruto is sad because when she walks into the battlefield versus Pain, you know she ain't got no chance. Like, that was the first thing I was thinking of. Like, as soon as she jumped in there, I'm like, no, don't do it. And then, well, what I expected kind of happened. She was getting thrown all over the place, trying to take the reeds out of Naruto's back and his arms, and she kept trying to do it, and he was just like, Pain was like, why? Why are you doing this? Knowing that this is futile. And she kept going on about it. This is my ninja way. So he just kept slamming her, beating her, and then I think that final blow where he knocked her into the air, that was it. Naruto saw it, six tail time, he's super fucking pissed. He loses control. It's one of the most, like, sort of emotionally harrowing fights they have thus far, and I really, really enjoyed it. I would say the other two is pretty simple. Jiraiya dying, because I knew something was wrong when he lost his arm. He was getting he got his throat crushed, and I was just like, I think it's a wrap for this character at this point, of him dying to his previous student. And Jiraiya's death impacted, I mean, the way it impacted Tsunade was also like pretty fucked up with all those flashbacks. I think it was totally effective at the time that it did work, even though I really liked the character. I just had some feeling at that point when they were running through the base, and when Pain came out of the wall, I was like, oh fuck. So I know that was like super sad and haunting in a sense when he got knocked into the water too. Then I would say Asuma's death is also another one, because when Hidan and Kazuku is like hitting him, each time they get like a hit off, right? Slowly but surely, and you see Shikamaru like freaking the fuck out. Like he doesn't know what to do, but he's trying like his hardest to hold them in the shadows. But each time Asuma gets hit and starts bleeding out, it gets worse. And then I think, once all the damage is done and they sort of repel the attack a little bit, it's that scene on the rooftop that really gets everyone, where Asuma's like, just give me a light, and I'm proud of all you guys and how I taught you, before he dies. And then you go to the camera pan of Shikamaru, and he's like, I really hate cigarettes. So you see he's crying, and the rain and everything, and it stops like in midair in the sky, and it's all misty. And it's just like Kishimoto, man, come on, you know how to fuck with people's emotions. You really do. And it lingers on the rain for like a while before it goes to black. I thought that scene was incredible. I thought it was really well done. It actually almost made me well up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie when I was watching it. Very well directed, very emotional, and very incredible. Those are my top 3 moments for at least emotional ones. I'm gonna move on to Justin. What's your most emotional moment in Naruto Part 2?
Sorry, take a sip. That's a segue. So first off, I am gonna once again enacting a broken record primo. I am first gonna go with the when Hinata does stand up for Naruto in the pain fight. Ren, yeah, you're right. The miniseries just like I'm like women you stand no chance. Not even the main character is doing well. Get the fuck out of there. But no, then you have that whole moment all eventually culminating into pain. What pain? What freak? Without even a care in the fucking role, just like rod, twirl, stab with the fade to black, and it's just like, well, Naruto, you just gained like 3 different traumas in the span of 60 seconds. Well, that's quite a segue into the fight. You poor bastard, can't catch a fucking break, can you? Uh, Another one I am once again gonna go with the whole sequence where Naruto gets to meet Kushina. I mean, I'm gonna once again give bonus points to the Ninja Storm for the way it portrayed it. It may be like probably one of the longest freaking story sequences in any game I've ever played, where it's so much of it is cutscene. You do a little bit of walking in the hub world as Kushina, and then you watch way more cutscene. But just everything it shows you, it's like Naruto for like so fucking long had no idea of his parentage, what they were like, anything for so freaking long, and it felt good for him to finally get that moment before he eventually before he would go later to freaking to beat QB in that fight and getting mastery over the power. It's just there's just something about there's something about Naruto fucking finally getting this just know what both Kushina and Minato were like after I don't even fucking remember how old he was, but imagine going that long without actually knowing your actual parents and then learning all that in the span of a couple fucking minutes after everything else he went through as well, in terms of just not having an actual family and then having to have his friends as his family and all that. Oh my god. And again, especially because I mainly first saw it in Ninja Storm, so playing it is also very different than also having watched it later in the anime. And again, our boy Jiraiya. Hats off to Ninja Storm for sort of altering the scene just to give him one more hurrah in the fight, but ultimately, like that was truly a crux of just so much shit. At least for our boy Naruto. Well, I'm glad he eventually did get out of the funk that he was in. And obviously, like, no surprise he was in one. And I don't blame him. But fucking hell, you didn't. Sometimes you don't think they fucking do it, but no, like Kishimoto will be like, nah, no one's immune. I'm not making anybody immune. Y'all can fuck off with that. I'm too lenient. Well, watch what happens when I write this into the synopsis. So those were pretty freaking impactful moments.
Drill, what about you? Do you have any impactful moments you want to share?
Honestly, everyone already kind of said my answers. But yeah, Naruto meeting Kushina was really emotional, mainly because it's the first time he ever meets her. And unlike with like Minato, where he's kind of angry about the whole tailed beast thing, he's like pretty much at the verge of tears with Kushina, and she even gives him more backstory about like the the whole tailed beast and her role in it. And also there were some pretty funny moments, like, well, I get that it's emotional, but I thought it was funny how he thought she was the Nine Tails in disguise, but she wasn't. And then obviously Ozuma dying, but everyone's already repeated pretty much what I wanted to say. And I mean, the war arc also had Ozuma fighting against Choji again. Then they had to put him down, which was kind of emotional. But they had to, but he had been reanimated, so they had to seal him away again. Well, they had to seal him away because he wasn't in control anymore. But yeah, not much to add on my side at least.
Rocker, what about you? Anything to add on emotional moments?
Emotional moments. Oh, there's quite a few. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna go out on my own limb and say my favorite emotional moment slash death or both would have to fucking be Itachi dying. I mean, I could have went for the easy bits like Jiraiya passing, Naruto meeting his mom, Naruto meeting his dad, the whatnot. But I'm gonna go with, like I said, Itachi dying, because at first the only thing that was driving Sasuke forward, was getting revenge on Itachi for the murder of his entire clan. But then once we get towards the end of that scene, we see that Itachi was not Itachi had a reason. He was basically on a mission, told, hey, if you don't do this, these fuckers are going to cause even more trouble than we need. So he's like, all right, I'll willingly become the monster and everything that needs to be, so that way my brother can still at least live in a semblance of normalcy. He'll still have friends to a degree. I mean, you won't have a mother, a father, aunts, uncles, or anything, but he'll still have friends, hopefully, who can help him. And then at the end, when you see, excuse me, Itachi do that little forehead flick, you just know there was so much emotion just with that, because it just showed that Itachi still gave an insane amount of, still cared insanely for his brother. He's like, I know I'm not strong enough at this moment to take on those who caused the death of our clan. I'll basically have my kid brother view me as the villain. That way he can train and train and train, or get power through other means, in order to become powerful enough to defeat those who caused our village and our family such pain. And then we come to find, then, excuse me, after Sasuke, I do believe, yeah, he did beat Danzo, who was basically the architect behind it all. That's where it should have, the beef should have died. It should have died. But you starting to go off on a tangent there. But like I said, the fight scene that Itachi and Sasuke had, wonderful. We get to see them both using Susanoo, Itachi using the Amaterasu, Sasuke using fucking the lightning blade or whatever it's called, Chidori. There we go. But yeah, like I said, my favorite emotional moment / death is passing of Itachi. And yeah, that's that. Sorry if it was too small or whatever.
Oh no, it's fine. Shug, it is your turn. Is there a favorite emotional moment or death you want to mention for Naruto Part 2?
Well, first one that made me cry was Asuma. I think Asuma was one of those like cool looking dudes, you know, that you're like, man, this guy is cool as shit, and I like him. Just like how we see Guy and we see Kakashi and these teachers that they just look badass as hell, you know. And we see the the deep connection that he had with his little team, Shikamaru and Choji. And so he was like a little like an uncle to all of these kids. And just seeing how he was just mauled by Hidan and Kakuzu. And we see that it really affected them entirely with Asuma dying and like it really affected a lot of people that you don't really think of like, oh, this random ass side character being very important to some people in the show. But it's like the man had a family basically, or he was about to have his own family. And we also get to see him display his power before he dies, and we see that the dude's he can hold himself, and he was pretty badass, especially with his little chakra blades. And it was definitely one of those like characters where once you see that they were giving them too much like backstory, you're like, oh shit, this man's dying kind of deal. So it's one of those very emotional fights because like we see that nothing could have been done really, if we're being honest here, because it was two enemies they've never fought before with new powers, and they just couldn't figure them out. They couldn't figure out how to do it, and just seeing the desperation from everybody on what happened, it was crazy. I think that fight for sure brought a tear to my eye with him dying for sure. Um, Another one, fuck. I would say Minato telling "Happy Birthday" to Naruto. I think it's probably one of my favorite like final lines before he fights Sasuke, and that one also kind of like brought a tear to my eye because it was very emotional too to hear to see Naruto finally get like a happy birthday from his parent, something that God, how long he's been fucking waiting to just hear that. So um it was a very emotional part for sure towards the end of the show. And I don't want to have another one, but I can't really narrow it down because we've all said the Minato one at this point with, finding out who his dad and the Kushina part two with his mom. I want to say Itachi, whenever we find out the real motive of everything, of his reasons as to why he did what he did, and like we see Sasuke just fucking cry. We don't get to see Sasuke cry. And the fact that we get to see him cry like that after hearing the fact that his brother wasn't really evil. He was he was trying to protect him. He wanted his little brother to live. And Itachi taking all the blame from that. And then we see all of that just pour into their fight. Oh man. Very, very emotional. And I think Sasuke doesn't get to find out about everything Itachi did until after their fight, if I'm not mistaken. So you know, the the emotions he has after, killing his brother, basically, even though that man was already dying as is. The fight was easy for Sasuke at this point. And seeing that, he killed his brother, but in the end, it quite literally didn't matter because his brother wasn't the villain. It was fucking the third Hokage, for being honest here, and Danzo. So yeah, I think I would say those three would be like some of the highly emotional parts of Naruto for sure.
And before I move on, I just want to move to an honorable mention for this question. I wanted to mention a sad moment that I thought was sad that didn't come up for me until now was when Sasuke was in the dream at the Valley of the End, and you slowly see all the people that he cared for disappear, and he's like all by himself in the black void, and then he sees all the other characters on the side of Naruto, and then you realize that his speech of wanting to be alone was like just kind of a pipe dream that he really didn't want. Then it hit him, and then he started breaking down. I thought that was also really well done, especially when he said, "Oh, I understand now," because he sees the hope of the village right in front of him, and he's being left behind in a way. It's quite symbolic in nature with how Kishimoto does it. It's just fucking amazing. The visuals, everything, and the realization kicking in that this whole quest line you've went on this entire time, you might want to reevaluate and rethink it over. So I thought that was pretty good. We're gonna move
Oh
on.
yeah,
Oh, good.
oh yeah, that hit the feels, man. Especially because you gotta realize that no matter how far Sasuke fell, Naruto always saw him as a brother, and he fought, really hard to get Sasuke to come back to the village, and he managed to succeed. And that's why eventually Sasuke, he pretty much realized, his true strength all along was really his friends, his bond with Naruto.
I also think a line, I forget when it was said. I swear it was in a sequence, maybe a little flashback or whatever. You know how they have like multiple sequences, but I think Sasuke sort of realizes that Naruto is the only one that came back for him, and he says it to some effect like, "Oh well, you're the only one that came back for me. Everyone else tried to kill me." Because you remember when they were at the summit, I think it was Sakura and it was Kakashi. Both of them wanted Sasuke dead at that point. It was like, oh, he's not gonna reform, he's not gonna change. Let's just kill him and get it over with. Which is exactly what Sakura tried to do when she tried to stab him in the back, and that failed. But yeah, he's the only one that never said, "Oh, let's just kill him and get it over with." So that was also something that added to the emotional moments as well. But we're moving on to the next question, and I might alter this a little bit. Now, everyone has mostly said that for the filler, they don't really recall any moments from it that's noteworthy. So I'm gonna blend the question into this. If you have anything to say about the filler, you could bring it up, but I want to get the opinions of people who also watched the movies. So if you have any memorable moments with the filler, or if you watched any of the Shippuden movies, it will be the perfect time to explain it with this question. And I'm gonna go with Andre first. What did you think of one or the other?
The movies.
The movies, or if you have any memorable moments from the filler, just answer like one or the other.
Well, okay, so in terms of movies, I don't know, the Naruto movies are like a weird. I'd say, well, let's see. I think the best one was probably Road to Ninja. Like, I thought it was kind of neat. Naruto and Sakura go to an alternate reality where, things were very different. Naruto's parents were really alive. I guess Sasuke was in the village, even though he became a ladies' man. She ends up being like pretty aggressive. Like, she dresses kind of like scanty clad. It's kind of funny because they're actually costumes, and like I think in the Storm games, like Storm 3 and 4, they're like costumes. They have these like alternate versions of characters, and And I know there's like an alternate version of Naruto named Menma, but yeah, I think it was entertaining, but filler. I don't know. I forgot so much of filler. The only filler episode I do remember liking was the probably I think the one where he goes in depth with Asuma's past, where the 12 Guardians. I thought that was really neat, and also Kagashi's days in the Anbu Ops. But that's kind of it. Like I pretty much forgot so much of the movies. It's kind of insane. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say, Ren.
Drill, do you have any thoughts on any filler moments or any of the movies?
Honestly, the filler, I kind of either forgot about most of them or just didn't care. Because the biggest problem I had with the fillers was that they just kept interrupting every arc. Like I remember, like during like the war arc, they had like the guy versus Madara fight, and then they went straight back into filler, which is really pissed me off. Like at least with Naruto, it wasn't that bad, but it got like 100 times worse with Shippuden. Like as for the movies, honestly, the only ones I ever saw were the first two and Road to Ninja, and I thought they were decent. The first one gave us like more fights with like Neji and Lee. Like it's kind of funny that they actually get more fights in the movies and filler than the actual anime. And I thought the whole thing about Naruto, like like you see Naruto die in the beginning of the first one, so you see Naruto die in like the first film, and they're trying to prevent his death, and and then of course and then they did have like the dark medical ninjutsu, which I thought was interesting, but they never did much with it. Oh, and also there's at the end that was pretty funny where at the end at the end the like the she that one girl was asking Naruto that she needed help starting getting started with the family, and I guess he misinterpreted it. Yeah. But honestly, Road to Ninja at least was cool to see like all of the different versions of characters, like a more like bitchy Hinata, and also Tsunade being flat chested and Shikamaru being dumb, and Sasuke and Naruto actually having somewhat normal lives. Well, Naruto. Oh wait, there was Menma, but yeah, yeah. Honestly, like I haven't seen all the movies, so I don't know what Blood Prison and the other ones are like. Maybe if someone else has seen them.
Reading the chat is
But
funny.
yeah,
Hinata was an aggressive bad bitch in the movie. That's fucking hilarious.
yeah, and then she was like ready to kill Sakura just for be looking at him.
That's fucking hilarious. They reversed everybody's personality, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Justin, it is your turn. Have you seen any of the Shippuden movies, or have you seen any of the filler that's worth mentioning?
Well, thanks to Drill mentioning it, I remember the ending to, I think that was the first movie where Naruto literally misinterpreted a question and everyone had to look up, did she actually just ask that? And then he just Naruto gets a hearty, he of course. And then it just cuts to the freaking credits. Just I was like, what the fuck just happened? Of course, it's like, of course, read this shit one time on TV tropes years ago, and then you're never the same again. But in terms of full watching the movies, God damn it, Drill, I fucking see the Booker T gif. Tell me he did not just say that. Oh, oh fuck, my train of thought. I saw Road to Ninja and The Last fully, and because Road to Ninja was a fucking trip because of all like the the role reversals and all that shit. I mean, the real big thing was, oh my god, his parents are actually alive in this one. And then you just see everything else in between as well, with just the complete, and they're just like switches just flipped. And you're just sitting here wondering, what kind of bizarre world did you just step into? And why am I watching this? Actually, how am I what the fuck? Uh and I mean, what else can be said about like Naruto movie 7, the last, which actually wasn't the last Naruto movie because there was still the Boruto movie afterwards, but whatever. Uh when I mean, like, it kind of got through pretty freaking quick with its plot. Like, it kind of was no nonsense. Like, if anyone's seen Sonic 3, like the theatricals, like Sonic 3, like, it didn't really deviate too much from the plot. It kind of went as like once it got going, it got fucking going. Because you had your bit at the beginning, but then it's like, oh, here's a mission. Oh, here's a moment. Oh shit. And it finally fucking had Naruto like realizing, dummy, hello, hello, hello. When when you learn the real fucking reason why he never acknowledged it, you're at the same time like, oh, that explains a lot. But also, my other half was like, you fucking moron, really? Like, Stevie Wonder could have seen that, my guy. Like, come on. Even if you brought that man back from the dead, blindfolded him, and locked him in a freaking basement with no lights on, he'd be like, "Damn, motherfucker, you blind or something?" She right there, one in the D. It's right there, bitch. You age skip. Now, what the fuck you doing? I'm sorry. Oblivious pro tags are just such a fucking annoying trope, man. But so many authors love doing it. I'm just glad that they finally fucking took it out back and just shot it. If you kill the trope or you just utterly subvert it, then that's fan fucking tastic. Real skilled Steve. But needless to say, when that moment finally came towards the end, and it's just like it goes through that moment, like, between all their incarnations, and then Naruto's like, nah, come on, we doing this in style, and he fucking bursts open the fucking ceiling, and they're floating with the moon, and then there's the kiss shot. I'm like, yo, this is what longtime fans fucking cheered and were waiting for like so goddamn long. Just you want to talk about a good sense of finality, there's that. And I mean, I forget. I don't think it was a post credits, but either way. And then there was the sword of Boruto lead in with the further time skip. That showed us just like, now they now they live in a humble family life, and they they had enough fun to where they had not one but two kids. And it's at that moment where it's like, y'all, I think these two are the new actual standard because they're professionals, and professionals have fucking standards here. So needless to say, yeah, you could tell which one I had more fun watching. God damn it, Shug, I see that, and you're not the first one to make the joke. You are far from the first one to make that joke. But we all know it's true.
I don't even know if I should read that out loud. I should just skip to the next question. Fucking Hinata in bed with the shadow clones everywhere. What the fuck, man? I should have skipped. That's being highlighted. I'm highlighting that. Oh, Nata. Alright, so the next question. Question number 6. How do you feel about Sasuke and Naruto becoming children of destiny with Indra and Ashura as a plot line? Naruto and Sasuke ended up as descendants of both of these brothers, Indra and Ashura. What do you think of this reveal and how they got these predestined moon and sun godly powers? And I'm gonna go with Andre first.
Bro, oh my god. Okay, boy, Naruto and Sasuke being gods. Well, all right. So I think if everyone knows, Naruto and Sasuke almost died by Madara, right? And they're approached by the Sage of the Sixth Path, and they're revealed to be gods. And Naruto ends up basically getting like all these godly powers. You know, the Sage of the Sixth Path balls. I know innuendo. He gets all the chakra of the Sage. Sasuke gets the Renegade. All right, right. I as cool as the powers are, it's like, bro, why? Like, it really undermines, I think, the whole story of Naruto because, like, Naruto is really all about like hard work. Well, at least until like Shippuden, but the message still stands. And then eventually, yo, Rocker, yo,
Fuck you, Rocker, by the way.
You're welcome.
Her favorite is the
God.
8 trigram 64 back shots. Fuck you.
holy shit, that's
Oh my god.
okay. Now let me continue. Okay. Back to the question. I think it really cheapens the show a lot, the series a lot, because like the powers are cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think they could have done something way better. Like, I know this like goes into fan fiction territory. They have that big ass tree that Madara summons. I mean, Naruto and Sasuke could have just eat the fruit and get the powers. I know, weird as hell, but just bear with me. But it's like the abilities are cool, but it's like at that point, Naruto ends up becoming Dragon Ball. And I think it does kind of cheapen the series a bit. I mean, as cool as it is, but yeah, but the answer to finish my statement, like, I just wasn't a fan of it. Like, I mean, if it was explained at the beginning of the series, like there some shit like that, I mean, it would have been not as bad. But it's like I feel they just did it early because they needed to tie in Kaguya-sama, and also they needed to beat Madara, which there's way more things they could have done, but that's about it. Really, that's my takeaway. I try to keep it as short as possible.
Drill? How about you? What do you think of the whole ancient descendants with Indra and Ashura?
Honestly, I just really hate it because it just undermines the whole point of Naruto, being rising from nothing, and it kind of just proves Neji's point that everything is predestined because Naruto was born as the Hokage's kid. He has the nine tails, and now he's the descendant of Indra, or was it Ashura?
I think
But either
Ashura's
way,
Naruto, Indra Sasuke.
but yeah, being the descendant of Ashura, basically Naruto was always destined to be the Hokage, and he pretty much proved that point in that everything is predetermined, and you can never really like move from what you're destined to. And it just felt like just a really bullshit power up because they couldn't figure out how to beat Naruto. So I mean beat Madara. So let's just power him up. And they basically, and that's where like the problem with the war arc is how bad the power scaling gets out of control because now they're like DBZ, like they're like DBZ level characters that could probably destroy mountains and entire cities. Like there could have been a way to defeat Madara without undermining the whole main theme of Naruto. But no, they had to just give them like bullshit power ups, and it doesn't get much better with Boruto as well. But yeah, honestly, I really disliked it, and I kind of wish they would have never done it. Like that's just like little rant on it.
Justin, it is your turn. What do you think of the whole godly descendant powers for Sasuke and Naruto at this point in the war arc?
Oh, well, well, I for one, well, I am used to, oh, protag finds out they come from this line or they're descended from here. I mean, again, as I'm sure was mentioned as I was like scrolling through things in the meantime, that a shonen is pretty much no stranger. This is stranger to this, especially if you're a fan of Dragon Ball. God, especially if you're a fan of Dragon Ball. But like, I for one am like, why am I not surprised? But at the same time, I also understand everyone else's point when they say that it kind of killed a lot of the point of the show, like the series, and that it kind of felt like a cop out because now you're it's like you were always destined to be this great, powerful shinobi where you can easily destroy or save the world by making a sign with another one of my family's descendants because our life is really fucked up and we kind of pushed everything onto future generations because we couldn't sit down and talk for 2 goddamn seconds. Okay, that last part is pretty fucking real, but I digress. But I can easily see where like the negatives come from. Like for so long, you just think, yeah, Naruto deadass came from like pretty much nothing. Like we all know what his life was like in the Leaf Village before things eventually got better for him when he got older. I mean, let us never forget the swing that gets more airtime than some fucking characters. To be perfectly honest. I know, God, that just hit so fucking hard as I said that out loud. My God. But was I totally taken aback? No, but was I still like, what the fuck is this? Oh, definitely. When I found out about about it's like, oh yeah, no, it turns out that they're descendants of these brothers, and now they have like the spirit of them, like in their veins. I went, what the fuck am I hearing? I and I was not doing the best at catching up because this was still a point like where finding the show wasn't the easiest in the world. You could if you looked, but at the same time, it's like good fucking luck without your antivirus freaking tripping you. At least nowadays, you can look a little bit and get something without it threatening to fucking worm your computer and freaking set it on fire. But I stopped for this long, and now I find out that these two are descendants of fucking old, like powerful shinobi. This entire super godly powerful shinobi, and they are children of destiny, destined to be destined in the blood destiny, destined in the destiny's child. I don't know. I was trying to go for a bit, but fuck it, God, this how much is scrambling my brain. Cause this was before everything with me in anime, where I'm just so numb to certain tropes nowadays. Yeah, but so moral of the story. Uh, again, was I totally surprised? No, but was I still surprised and had my fucking thoughts? Oh yes. Well, mainly, Jesus fucking Christ, Kishimoto, you could have written this thing out entirely, and I don't think anyone would have given a shit.
Yeah, I think personally, since it's my turn, I like when power-ups are always built up, or if they were always there. Maybe it's some plateau that a character needs to unlock. One of the good examples I think that was brought up in chat was Bleach compared to this, where I said at least you always kind of had hints that Ichigo may be a Quincy with Zangetsu, but with this, it's like, okay, they're gonna put the balls into people's bodies, pause. They're gonna do that, and then it's told to us that Sasuke and Naruto are part of this descendant like people where they have these like incredible abilities, and then they can get a whole bunch of fucking chakra. You get 6 path sage mode, and you could throw the shuriken, the chakra shuriken, like nobody's business when Naruto could barely make one. It is one of the most random buffs to both of these characters I think I ever seen. And I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't make sense. It kind of goes against the principle of Naruto, where it's like you are born from a loser, which is what Sasuke and Naruto thought to themselves. Like Sasuke thought, oh, I couldn't save my clan, I have to get stronger. Naruto's like, oh, well, I was born with this beast inside of me. No one wants to be my friend, but I have all this hidden potential. Now it's just like, oh, God powers out of nowhere. And I think it kind of really hurt the backstory between the two, with this whole fated destiny thing, where I kind of thought that was a lame plot device, to be honest. It's like a real ninja makes his own destiny, and it shouldn't be predetermined, in my opinion. That's what I think about that. Moving on to Rocker. Rocker, what do you think of the whole Sasuke and Naruto getting sacred powers?
To be honest, they didn't fucking need it. At the rate they were going with their, like, everything else that they were experiencing on their journeys, learning at different rates, learning at different shit. By the end of the series, you already knew they were going to be some overpowered little bastards. But to be, like I said, to be honest, they didn't really need it. I mean, if they would have, like, when we had the, when we got that information that they were basically the reincarnation of fucking Kaguya's kids and everything, basically they're basically gods and everything. You knew they were going to get they were going to get a power spike or 3. But like I said, it gave us some interesting moments and everything, but like I said, they didn't need it. They're already plenty powerful. Like Andre just said, it was a cop-out. But like I said, they didn't need it. They were already becoming pretty fucking powerful just normally. I mean, with Naruto getting Sage mode and then finally learning how to access the Nine-Tails chakra portion that he has. But yeah, basically the short and the sweet of it is it gave us some entertaining moments, but it just turned them slightly more cringe than usual. And that's all I'm going to say.
Shug, how about you? What do you think of Sasuke and Naruto becoming godly descendants of Indra and Ashura?
Bullshit. I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. I almost dropped it. I ain't even gonna lie. I almost dropped it because it was just dumb. It felt just thrown in there. You know, I would have believed them more if it was Hashirama. If they did the whole thing with like the whole gods thing with Hashirama and Madara, I would have gone. I would have gotten a better I would have seen a better reception from myself to that if it was them two instead, because those two were always described as gods because of how limitless their fucking their chakra was at the time. So I would have believed it more if it was for them too, instead of just like piling it up of like, oh, well, our powers transferred from them to them and then to them and now it's Naruto. And it's like, what? You're just sitting there like, what is this all this bullshit about lineage and bloodlines, and they're trying to just add on bullshit to more of like to the war that didn't really need it. They should have just completely avoided even trying to kill Sasuke and Naruto in general, because like doing all that kind of just made even having the four Hokages there like anything, which is kind of weird too that they would bring the four Hokages back from the dead or from the resurrection thing, and they basically get relegated to just being punching bags for like the entirety of the war. And it's like, damn, you see that, being told that all four of these guys were powerful as fuck, being punching bags for literally everybody. And then, excuse me, Madara suddenly gains this otherworldly power and can't die no matter what, unless you're fucking Guy, which literally almost killed him in one shot, but still, regenerated. But it's like they were probably better off just not doing all of that, because like I feel like it just got thrown in there because Kishimoto was probably told, hey, we're gonna give you we need you to make a sequel to this, and he said, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw in some random bullshit, and for some reason it has stuck and it made it into the sequel show, and it has completely just destroyed anything Naruto, if we're being really honest with you, because they don't even use jutsus anymore. So yeah, I don't really like this plot point. I think it's probably one of the worst things ever, in my opinion. And maybe some people fucking love it.
I'm gonna have to just give this one the straight thumbs down. Just straight up thumbs down the toilet. Because when I got to this point, and I'm gonna mention it here, when I also saw Madara transform into Kaguya, I'm like, what? What? What just happened? What in the fuck just happened? I could not. I just couldn't do it. And seeing her transformed into more tail beast, I was just like, my mind is fucking done. Just get to the point where we have Naruto and Sasuke fight, please, please. But I'll save more of that for the war arc, because that's number 10. But number 7, what is your favorite Jutsu, Keke, Genkai, and chakra technique that was utilized in part 2? And I'm gonna go with Drill Bit first.
In part 2,
Yep.
honestly, it's a really hard one because the Kage Summit had some really cool ones, like the whole particle style and I know that like May had like two of them with the lava corrosive style and lava style. Those were really cool. Honestly, I kind of miss when Kekkei Genkais were actually rare, but then everyone started having one with part 2. But particle style probably was my favorite because it's the only one that could actually like completely turn something to like nothing. Like Sasuke would have been fucking dead if Toby didn't show up. Like that was just like complete like plot armor that helped him there. Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't see more particle style because that was really cool. And then they made like Sharingan. And then of course Sharingan got way more bullshit power ups, like being able to change time, like with Izanagi. Like Izanagi's gotta be like the most bullshit like ability in the entire series. But this isn't about least favorites. So most favorite definitely is the particle style for me at least.
All right, Andre, it is your turn. What is your favorite Jutsu, Keke, Gekkai, or Chakra throughout the series?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Well, I got a lot of them. I got a fair amount of them, but I'll go by quickly. Jutsu wise, Kirin. I really like Kirin. I think it's one of Sasuke's most underrated techniques for a number of reasons. Because one, it's like the way Sasuke uses is really cool. Because when Sasuke and Itachi are fighting and it's raining at the Uchiha hideout, yeah, exactly, dude. I did not like that because like it's funny because actually in like I think Storm 4 Connections, Sasuke actually does use like a new version of Kirin. I think he uses like a new version, which I'll probably look up later. But I really like Kirin. It was just a really cool attack. Like literally, it just creates this big ass like a lightning dragon, and Sasuke literally says "Be gone with thunderclap," and then uses it and literally destroys the entire complex, taking out Itachi. That's a really cool one. Another one I really like. The see. Let's see. Other jutsu I really like is probably, I guess, Heon's Reaper Death Seal. You know, when Heon's got the scythe and he curses you, he like stabs you, you pretty much die in sleep. I really like that one. That's really cool. I think that's a really cool ass ability. Um, it definitely made the fight with him like more intense because like they had to fight strategically because Heon basically can like regenerate and come back. So that was cool. Another one I really like is shoot. Damn, I'm trying to think really hard. Let's see. Okay, I got another one that's actually another one that's kind of cool. Liger Bomb. I think the Raikage's Liger Bomb is pretty sick. Dude literally just power drives Sasuke into the dirt. That's a really cool one. I was like, yeah, man, there's just so many good jutsus in Naruto, but we'd be here almost all night. So, uh, yeah, no one survived Liger Bomb. Sasuke got lucky because if he ended up Susanoo, I think he'd be like, bro, I think he would literally just be split in two. Like, dude would just be torn in half. See. Trying to think what was it. I guess Rasen Shuriken. I know it's like a normie answer, but I like Rasen Shuriken. I think that shit's really cool. Like, can't go wrong with that. Okay, finally, honestly, then we're gonna go on Kekkei Genkai's Renegon. I really like the Renegon. This thing's a really dope ability where the user like is able to create control gravity and sort of like create meteors and shit. Which unfortunately they kind of spam the shit out of the ability because then Madara gets and he's like, "Oh, well, I can create meteors now." Well, I know he's always had it, but I think it was getting kind of ridiculous in the war because this dude was literally dropping meteors on everyone, and then Sasuke gets it. I always loved the eye design for it. I really I like how the iris is looking, just how the, like, purple. Blanks here, but yeah. Trying to get a second, I have no idea. Uh, I don't know. Uh, I guess this counts as one. I guess when Shoji uses his butterfly form, where he like grows super huge and like he gets the butterfly wings. If that counts as one, but yeah, I think that counts as a technique. Yeah, because yeah, I think that's really about it for me. I pretty much listed all the ones I really like.
Okay, I'm gonna go really quick. I have a few. I'm going to start from the bottom. I liked Indra's arrow with the Susanoo, utilizing all of the elements that Sasuke has with the, tail beast. He makes a big lightning release and he has this like arrow and he shoots it into you after he does it, and it's just a lot of energy, a lot of damage. That's like one of his more critical techniques that could really hurt something and break through something. So I think Indra's arrow is like really powerful for him. Next up, I'm gonna say I really, really liked, and this might be my favorite one, but EMS Kakashi Kamui Shuriken. This technique is a monster. You just throw the shuriken and you can kamui someone's limbs, and when you really think about it, I mean, think how quickly the fight will end as soon as it makes contact, because it is literally someone's limbs, arms, legs, maybe their head going into another dimension. It is absolutely stupid, broken, busted, any word you want to regulate that to. That is Kakashi's most bullshit power up of all time, and it's not even close. And if I had one more that I liked, you know what? I'm gonna also say Kakashi again, because this is very devastating. The Kamui Lightning Blade. It practically tore Kaguya in half. Let's be honest. It nearly tore her ass in half, and that is also like just broken plot hacks bullshit when that fight was going on, but I loved almost every second of it. Yeah, Kakashi with the EMS Sharingan was stupid. just but it was so cool at the same time, and it really had that connective tissue to Obito when he acquired it. So that's one of my favorite moments, seeing like powers in action become busted bullshit. Next up is Justin. What is your favorite jutsu, technique, etc.?
I forgot how goddamn fucking crazy ass named some of these were. I'm gonna be real, because I was thinking some of the most basic bitch shit. Meanwhile, here y'all are saying names like, the Kamui Lightning Blade, and it's Planetary Devastation, Kirin Twinbird. What the hell? God, I know this is shonen, but you could not get any more fucking shonen, like, at all with some of these names. Oh my god. Oh, not gonna lie, a lot of that is very, very hard to follow up, but uh, I'm just gonna it goes hard as fuck. Yeah, it does. Um, if anything, I'm gonna say, so I didn't remember this happening somehow, but there was I cannot believe that no one told me about this for ages. But you want to talk about planetary? The planetary Rasengan. How the fuck no one told me about that shit? I like for years I loved the Rasengan, just how hard it goes. It may look to some people, but when you remember the impact of that technique and where it went for so long, just seeing the this hella improved version that Naruto creates after he starts mastering the Nine Tails power is fucking insane. And speaking of which, there was Bijou Chakra mode. Like, the look goes hard as fuck, and the power he gets goes hard as fuck. It's to this day, it's fucking iconic. And when I think Naruto at real peak power, like that's what I think. I think of Bijou Chakra mode. Again, like, how do you not look at some motherfucker on, like, with wrapped in fire and just ready to fuck shit up and just not think, oh my god, I think I should not have made him mad. I don't know. I could never get over Beach Chakra. When I first saw that shit, I could never get over it. Especially, or hell, when he freaking even becomes a fucking giant version of the Nine Tails, especially. I could not fucking get over it, because from the beginning we thought Nine Tails bad, the ninjas who sealed them good. It, it is nothing even negotiable. I don't know what I think a lot of this just has to fucking deal with transformations and just utilizing fuck it. I'm not pronouncing that fucking name.
Jinchuriki.
Jinchuriki, thank you. Those kinds of powers. As y'all are putting the gifs in the pocket chat and pictures, making my point entirely more supported here. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'm also let the photos speak for themselves. I'm going with that.
Seeing the 6 paths tail beasts with the Susanoo armor, this is literally the embodiment of I'm going to put the most broken as fuck thing on screen and you will deal with it. It's like, that's I do have
Your life ends. Your life ends 30 episodes from now.
Yeah, your life ends 30 episodes from now. It's over. But I also like Planetary Devastation, just throwing that honorable mention out there, where Pain just basically takes all these rocks and he tries to squish Naruto to death, straining in the process, a lot of straining and bleeding, and you see like just all the earth collapse on this motherfucker. It was actually one of the finer moments of that episode, despite the poor animation. That part was pretty cool when he said planetary devastation and just crushed the shit out of the fox. I like that part a lot. But it is your turn, Rocker. What's your favorite technique and power up?
All right, I'm gonna have to say, technique-wise, I'm going back to a well that I can easily pull from. It's one of the jutsus or techniques or whatever that Madara can use. Actually, it's it's one of those eye ninjutsus or whatever, but it's called Limbo. He only can use it once he regained his real Renegade. But what it does is allows him to summon up to 4 separate clones that cannot be seen by normal means. The only way that they can be seen is with someone who has another Renegade or excuse me, or Sage Mode Chakra. Or 6-path Sage Mode. And the fun thing is, those 4 clones that Madara summons all share the same chakra level and power and techniques that Madara himself has. So it's basically he activates this technique. He summons 4 clones, and you can't do shit unless you have the Renegade, which is really rare, or if you have Sage Mode, which is even rarer. So yeah, but like I said, it's not the only people really who could excuse me, have a potential to combat that technique is obviously Naruto, because he's got Sage Mode. And remind me, Sasuke does get the Rinnegan, right?
Yes, he does.
Thank you. So there's really at the time when Madara used it, there were only really 2 people who could hard counter it, Sasuke and Naruto. But yeah, like I said, the reason why I like it is 4 clones. They share the same chakra level as Madara. They know all they know all the techniques and everything. But if we're gonna go for like straight up power ups and everything, I gotta go with my guy busting it out all the way to the 8th gate. Yeah, it's a chakra it's a chakra technique, but goddamn it, I know you guys have seen what Might Guy was able to do to Madara when back against the wall. He was consistently bodying him, but it didn't work. Still a good fight, though. But that's all I got to say on that front.
Alrighty, is Shug back?
Yes, I'm here.
Alright, what's your favorite techniques in Naruto Part 2?
Well, let's see, because I have some favorites, but mainly because like I think the way that Ninja Storm makes them look makes him look even cooler than the actual show, in my opinion. Um, so like another one character that I do like his moves a lot, and I think that's like they're very cool. Like I would say anything that this person does is pretty badass, which is Asuma. His stuff is pretty cool, especially the Ash stuff. Um, his moves are pretty cool, and I think the show didn't do him that much justice with how cool his moveset is. Um, Kakashi, of course, gotta you know anything Kakashi really. If we're being honest, he's too badass to not have on a list of just like who has your favorite moves kind of deals. Because for sure Kakashi has to be there. Um, I'm a big fan of the of Hashirama and Tobirama. Uh, Mainly Tobirama. I think I like Tobirama the most because of like his element that he uses, which is water. So like, I'm a big fan of like a lot of water jutsus. I think the water jutsus are pretty fucking cool to see. And at least Tobirama's like his water dragon jutsu is pretty cool. I don't think he did any of these in the show besides the tandem paper bomb. But like his water dragon, the tandem paper bomb is pretty cool, which is like he'll encapsulate you in water, and then like the paper bombs that he throws at you keep multiplying until they blow up, kind of deal. And I think that's probably like really cool and pretty badass. Um, Hashirama is just cool as shit, with anything that he does. His unique wood jutsu is pretty, it's different compared to everything else. That nobody really has any type of way of using his jutsu besides like Yamato, and he barely can use it. Um, let's see. The Rasengan for sure. The Rasengan is also it's a pretty versatile move for sure. The Sage Jutsu is pretty cool. We're going for like another pretty badass character with cool moves that didn't really get showcased. I would say Shisui. Shisui has pretty cool stuff, even if it's like game only mostly. Especially his what's it called? His genjutsu being, walks you into your own death kind of deal, which is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I don't really have much in terms of specific moves, but more like characters that do these, or characters that have their moveset that I just thoroughly enjoy and that are just overly badass with how they present themselves and how this character is like described to the people kind of deal of like this dude is so fucking badass. He's on a league of his own, or he has some sort of nickname to himself that makes him, be beyond some of these like regular ass Jonin or just other regular powerful uh ninjas and stuff. But yeah, that's it.
All right, we're gonna move on to backstories. So, is there anyone in particular in the entirety of Shippuden that had a backstory that's worth pointing out that you really enjoyed? Andre, you go first.
Gladly. Trying to think of a backstory. Oh, you know what? Actually got one. I'd say Killer Bee's backstory. His backstory is very simple, but at the same time, I don't think you gotta be like overly complex to still be a fun character. And like, it's really neat how B kind of like he dealt with a lot of hatred because he was the carrier of the Eight Tails. Like he was the Eight Tails Jinchuriki when he was a kid, and there was this one character. I think his name was Motoi, and B was friends with him, and Motoi actually hated B for the longest period of time. And that hatred continued for years and years until eventually, like, B forgave him. The thing is, B never hated him either. In fact, he never had a grudge against, the people that had animosity towards him. And he grew up sort of like, happy. And even if he was like the Eight Tails, and also he's pretty much the adopted brother of the Raikage, which was really cool. And I thought their relationship was really well done. He's Raikage. I do think it's funny Raikage like gets mad at me for going on vacation, puts him in the hell, and gives him the noogie or he's like what was it, the Tiger Bomb. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, it's a Killer Bee. I know that's a very simple answer because I would have done maybe something like Hashirama, but I was like, nah, I think I'll go with B. That's about it for me.
Drill bit, how about you? What is your favorite backstory in Naruto Shippuden Part 2?
Honestly, it's hard to say, but I thought that I thought that I thought that Pain's whole backstory was really good, especially with how we saw Nagato become the person he is, and how the Leaf Village had an effect on him, and also how he kind of mirrored Naruto in a way, just going through a more darker path. And especially considering that what Pain did to the Hidden Leaf village felt like was no different from what the Hidden Leaf did to his village. And yeah, it really got Naruto to kind of question his whole ideology and really look at things from a different perspective. That was like the only one that really stood out to me. I guess Obito as well, especially once we saw how Madara was manipulating him and wanting to basically like complete the Eye of the Moon plan with the the Eye of the Moon plan basically. Uh, but yeah, that's my answer.
I'm going to go with Itachi. I know that's really like popular answer, but I think it's a good one because of the context that is more presented in part 2 where you see that he's not really the bad guy, and then there's that scene where he's struggling. He's trying so hard not to kill his parents, and they're saying how they're proud of him, and he's sitting there crying because he doesn't want to do it, but he has to. And they tell him to be strong, and that really kind of hit like super hard. When you get all the details like sort of unveiled in this, and it only makes it hit harder when Itachi tells Sasuke that he's proud of him when the war arc happens, and he's like reincarnated and he has to go back because he has to be summoned out with his soul, and he holds Sasuke like one last time, and then that's it. So it's a backstory that has a lot of tragedy behind it, and it leaves you in a lot of imagination until you find out what happens, and then it's like, man, this really fucking sucks. Not only because of the decision made and the people involved that were complete shitheads, like Donzo sucks, uh, but also that you see it shape one of the major characters of the franchise. So I thought it was pretty emotional when you got all the pieces to this puzzle. Next up is Justin. What's your favorite backstory in Naruto Shippuden?
Hmm. After you mentioned Itachi, yeah, he has certainly made that hard to follow. You already made it here. For the sake of especially having something different that was also something good to learn about, I'm gonna say this is a package deal of an answer, but Kushina and Minato, because finally getting to learn about Naruto's his parents was such a long time coming, because really did not have an answer for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it gets whammied right into you in this whole big story of this is who they were, this is where they came from, and this is how everything just came to be. Just seeing how like they were in their youth versus so when everything culminated at fucking once, because if you're a main character in a shonen of any kind whatsoever, you're just not allowed to have a break. It's just in the rule book. I don't write it. And even to this day, sometimes whenever I make jokes about like, or just make nods to, especially parents in anime, I tend to note Kushina, if mainly because I'm sure one of y'all have seen plenty of gifs like where her hair fucking goes up and then the pupils just go, and then you're just having that sense of, oh shit, you better run. I'm telling you right now, if Kushina were Hispanic, the chancla would be her jutsu. And then we'd all be fucked. Chancla no jutsu, you better fucking run, boy. Because your motherfucking life is not gonna wait 30 episodes to end in this case. He's gonna beat you to powder. Minato likes Latinas confirmed. I could totally fucking see it. And I mean, hey, not just that, but Minato just being a total. I mean, granted, like he Kushina created one, but anime pro tag. Dude saw the writing on the wall with the hair, followed it. He said some things here and there, followed it, married it, got in it, and here we are. even freaking became the damn Hokage of the village, which I couldn't even fuck. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in that regard. So I'm just like, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, Naruto, you got some good fucking folks right there, man. I'm glad we finally got to learn about them. And you fuckers in the pocket chat with these comments, god damn.
Hey, look.
Wow, Minato did live that. I didn't even realize it.
They call him the Yellow Flash for a reason.
It's like he stuck it in crazy and lived. I cannot believe it. I only just now realized that he actually lived the impossible. Minato, you Chad.
I had a joke, but I'm not gonna say it.
this crazy son of a bitch.
Well, it's Rocker's turn, so are we sure he really lived? It's Rocker's turn. No, I was gonna say the Yellow Flash turned into the White Flash, but there you go. So.
Oh dear
God. But only at night.
The Dead Flash. God damn. Rocker, it is your turn. What's your favorite backstories in Naruto Shippuden?
Oh, to be honest, I've got two, if that's okay.
Sure.
Wonderful. The first one obviously is going to be the one that we've basically been spending like the last 10 minutes yapping on about. The Naruto's finally meeting his the backstory of Kushina and Naruto's dad. How they met, how they got together, and in the end, how they both ended up saving the fucking village. Basically just them two. His father, Minato, used the Reaper Death Seal, pulled part of the chakra into him. Oh dear God, Bastion. But he pulled the chakra in, then put the other half into Naruto, thus sending him on his path. And then when they reunited, that was just wonderful. And the other one is we actually got Kakashi's backstory about how we knew, like when we were told he became one of the Anbu member at a young age basically was doing shit our young minds back then couldn't comprehend. And then we got how the dynamic between him, Obito, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the chick's name was Rin.
Yes, you are correct.
Holy fuck, I actually got that right. But it showed us the the interactions and everything between them, how Obito sacrificed his his only remaining good eye, his Sharingan. Well, obviously it's the Sharingan, but how he sacrificed that to let Kakashi continue on and everything. That way he wouldn't be handicapped with just one eye, because with one eye, your sense of I think it's like your equilibrium or something is going to be it's your depth perception is going to be fucked. But yeah, it's just how we got that. How the final fight, obviously, between Kakashi and Obito resolved a lot of ends and everything. And then the one part for Kakashi's back arc and everything during the ass end of Shippuden, he gets to meet his dad again. Barely remember him, but he gets to meet him again. I just like moments where you're just like, ah, and then out of nowhere you get fucking turned into a donut. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I figured I'd keep that one short, since I basically derailed the last part of Inferno's thing. So yeah, that's it.
Jug, it is your turn. Do you have any backstories that you want to point out or talk about for Naruto Part 2?
Hmm. I mean, they've all been pretty, mentioned pretty well. I mean, one that I would say that kind of, that I saw that was very interesting to see was, the guy, backstory with him and his dad. I think that was probably one of, one of those, it was random as hell, but then you're like, damn, his dad, while being stuck in getting rank for so long, but was such a hard-working character that he was able to unlock the 8 gates and basically sacrificed himself just so his son could live, And it's one of those that's like, man, we see now why Guy is very attached to his squad, and especially Rock Lee, because he probably sees a lot of his father and himself in Rock Lee, because Rock Lee is somebody who can't really use jutsus or anything, so he was like, damn, it's just like my dad, but I'm gonna make it to where he becomes one of the more powerful people even without having to use jutsus, so I feel like showing the type of inspiration that Guy had to become what the type of character that he is, being his dad, not being that powerful, was a pretty cool backstory. Um, a backstory that I wish that would have happened more of would be of Kakashi, because if I remember correctly, we only really see his dad, the White Fang, once, and it's whenever Pain killed him, or whenever Pain killed Kakashi. And it's like, oh, that's his dad. He has a little reminiscing with him for a good 1 or 2 episodes or whatever, how long he was dead for. And then it was like, wow, what could have been if his dad didn't, just himself. So I feel like we should have gotten a little bit more of him. I kind of want to see more of his dad, and because his dad is pretty interesting, and he looks badass too. So when you have somebody who is a badass character and his dad looks badass as fuck too, you kind of want to see more of this person. So it's kind of sad we don't really get to see much of him. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Besides the ones that you guys have mentioned so far.
All right, for question number 10, how did you personally feel about the war arc? This is usually a controversial arc that comes up. In terms of quality, how do you feel about the overall arc from start to finish? And it's also very, very long, even though it takes place in like 3 days. What is your overall thought process on this? And I want to go with Andre first.
Man, oh boy, we finally hit it. Finally hit the jackpot on this one. Okay, so initially, I liked the org a lot. Initially, I thought, okay, this is when it's really things were starting to get really serious with everything. Kabuto. Well, Toby declared open world on the entire Shinobi world, so everyone had to go up against pretty much every nation had to team up and pretty much go against him, right? And like, I think it's weird because I think the arc has a lot of great moments, like it was Ozma's team, finally, having to put them down and showing their teamwork and showing how much they've grown. I think Agashi's reunion with Zabuza, the reanimated Zabuza, and having to like put him down again. I thought that was really nice. I what was it? It had a lot of really cool moments. Like it definitely had like a lot of character growth for everyone involved. And I did really like how they sort of brought back all the reanimated, like all the villains and other characters throughout the whole show. So it was kind of like a combination, like ending something because it was really pretty much like I want to say the grand finale of Naruto, but we'll get to that. But I think the problem with it was like it dragged out so long to the point where part of me feels like I think they should have cut it in half. Like they really should have cut the war arc in half because it started to drag a bit. I think I want to say around when Madara joins the battlefield, that's when it started to drag out, and then eventually we go to Naruto versus Toby. Obito gets revealed. I think some of the characters just didn't really get their chances on it, like Rock Lee and Kiba, like especially Rock Lee because dude, it's like, bro, I think Rock Lee deadass could have like, and this is gonna sound like fan fiction, but I think he should have tagged along with like, what was it, B and Naruto, and same with Kiba. And that way, it's like if they tag around a bit, they can grow a bit more as characters. They can learn new jits and stuff like that. Because my biggest problem with Naruto is a lot of characters get like pushed to the wayside by the end because eventually it just kind of ends up being like Naruto and Sasuke saving the day. I think when Madara, he becomes the Sage of Six Paths, that's when it really started. That's when a lot of the got out of control because, like I said, they couldn't beat Madara. He had no weaknesses, and I'll get one of the worst characters ever in anime. Inside, well, actually, I knew everything all along. The entire series was predestined, and the whole Renegade Black Zetsu was total garbage. It was probably the shittiest moments in the whole series. Like, I think it soured me a bit on Naruto, and I just really hated it. The final Naruto versus Sasuke fight was really good. I'd say it was a bit of an apology, but after that, it then cuts to early years later. When Naruto's pretty much the Hokage and everyone has like kids. He's married to Hinata. Sasuke and Sakura get married, which this is one thing I really hate is like I think Sakura and Sasuke relationship was just extremely underdeveloped. I think it could have worked, but it wasn't. But it's just I don't know Kishimoto. I'm looking for. They really didn't have a lot of chemistry. They just. I feel like they were just paired together because it was like was like the thing fans wanted, and it just felt extremely underdeveloped. And I argued Naruto. If anything, they didn't really get a lot of focus to like the movie. That was like that was like I want to say here after Shippuden like finished, and most of Shippuden, it gets kind of pushed to the wayside until like maybe like I said the pain arc and really the horror when she like snaps Naruto out of when he loses when Neji dies, she snaps him out of Neji's death, and oh man, so I think to close this off, if you want my honest feelings on the ending of the show, it's initially I was down and kind of hated it, but then over the years I kind of sort of warmed up to it. Well, I wouldn't say warmed up to it, but I don't really dislike it as much anymore. I just felt like it could have been written a lot better than what we got. But that's just really my feelings on Naruto's ending. Not terrible, just it could have been a lot better. Like it's kind of the same I feel with Bleach, but hopefully the Bleach anime like does fix it though. So yeah, pretty much my answer.
Uh, it's funny that Bleach was brought up because, well, I guess in my answer, I'm gonna try to talk a little bit more about the fandom before giving my opinion. And uh, people usually like to say, I see a hot take where someone said the war arc is underrated, it's really good, and people really complain about it all because of the ending. And I would have to say you could still find issues because I mean you're talking about the whole fact that a lot of the undermined characters, we're talking about a 2 or 3 day war arc, and day 2 is the longest, and that's where most of the characters get super undermined. And of course, the fact that I don't really like the way that they killed Neji. I mean, I get it. I do get it, and then I kind of don't get it the more that I think about it, where it's like that could have gone a little bit better than what was written there. So I wouldn't just say that because Madara got body that it's not other problems to this arc, because I could just point them out just like that. And also what Shug said earlier, where it's like they brought back some of the reanimated Kages and they got their ass beat, so that's another issue as well in the war arcs. So I put it like this: there is good moments and there's bad moments. Yes, is the ending the most important part to everything? Yes, it is, but our issue with it is that it could have been so much better because, for the love of God, I don't understand why they did not keep Madara as the main villain. Instead, you have to just simply write him out. And that's kind of what they did in order to have this little... We're going to have this sister show, so we're going to have Kaguya show up, and then it goes fucking ape shit, and then I just didn't like it at all when we got to the ending. I think they should have stuck with Madara, maybe told some more intense backstory there, made the final fight a lot more epic between them. Then you can have the whole Team 7 stuff. I don't think that should have been replaced. They somehow find a way to beat them, seal them. You can still probably do that as well. But the way it was written was kind of trash, to be honest. I feel like it has fundamental moments. It has a lot of fights, considering how long it is. The emotions kind of shot a little bit outside of the reanimation scene where the souls get called back. I thought that moment was great, but it's kind of marred by them getting their ass kicked as well. So for every good thing, I can mostly think of one negative thing that kind of bugged me, considering how it's written, and since it was so long, and since there's so much filler, I just don't think that the pacing was the best thing. It's like one of my favorite Naruto YouTubers said, it's fun. You can find it even satisfactory, but you're looking at disorganized fun, and I think that's where the problem lies, is how the pacing just led to this point, and how Madara got turned into a bad plot device for Boruto, essentially. And I will forever hate that decision. Drill, it is your turn. What do you think of this?
So the war arc, right?
Yep.
Honestly, my biggest problem with it is that it's just way too fucking long. They really need to cut down on it because the fact that it only takes place within 2 days is kind of crazy. Like if they wanted the war arc to be longer, they should have maybe like had it take place over the span of a couple months. You know, like how real actual war is. But I guess for plot reasons, they didn't want to do it. But damn. Like I thought it was like I thought the idea of them getting attacked during the night was kind of cool, but and then Sakura is able to sniff out like the fake Neji. But man, the honestly my biggest problem is that aside from it being too long, is like the power scaling gets out of control, and then they have to give everyone bullshit power ups. Not to mention the way Neji dies is just really fucking stupid. Because he couldn't have just used like rotation or anything. He just gets stabbed and then he just dies. Like that's another thing is that there's basically no one important dies aside from unnamed ninjas. So they had to kind of just throw in someone to die. Like the character like they should have also like it would have made guys like attack more impactful if he died, but no, he gets brought back from Naruto uses powers, and then although although he couldn't fix his legs either, but that's another story.
That's another thing that bothered me too. Eight Gates is supposed to, you know, completely destroy you and kill you after it's done.
It's supposed to turn you from ash, like it's literally cooking you from the inside.
Yep, Guy is revived. Sasuke gets killed by Madara. Sasuke is revived. Naruto gets killed. Naruto is revived. So you see, it goes on this pattern of like they kind of wanted to toy with the idea that there is a lot of stakes at the end when they have Madara, you know, get his super bullshit power up, but then it's kind of like redundant and thrown out of the window because they're reviving people left and right. So it's just like, what the?
And also, Tsunade gets ripped in half, but that doesn't fucking kill her either.
Yeah, that too. And I'm just like, okay, I'll give Bleach some credit. At least they were like people who had the balls to kill off like some major characters or wound some and just have them stay dead. It's like that was fine. It felt like the
Yeah,
stakes were just more pertinent there.
Tsunade can survive getting cut in half, and Neji can't survive a few stakes. Like it's stupid.
Oh, I I'm gonna let other people take the chair. So
But
just
as
good.
just as a but as for the ending itself, I actually like that he kind of saw Iruka as kind of a surrogate father and wanted him to be at his wedding. I thought that was really nice. I will say that at least the ending itself wasn't bad. I just wish that we got there, you know, with better circumstances instead of just like everything else, like with Kaguya and just the way and just all of the bullshit ass pulls. But that's all I gotta say.
Justin, did you go yet?
I haven't.
What do you think of the war arc?
Well, what can I say? Has already been said about the work, but I'm gonna echo the sentiment of, good fucking god, it ran and it ran and it ran for a fucking long time. Like, I just remember a period of time where I heard, oh, that there's a shinobi war going on, and then some time later, I think it was maybe, I don't even know. I just know it was a long time, and then it's like, oh, they're still in the shinobi war. Okay, Okay, they're still in the Shinobi War. Okay, they're still in the Shinobi War. God damn! Like, I understand it. I understand, like, like your finale arcs go on for a while because, you got a lot building up to, like, in the ending of your story. That's one thing, but I can't imagine how manga readers felt if they were following it as it went. Because there's truly nothing more painful in terms of reading a manga than there's a lot of it. You get into it, so you binge it because, oh, you like the story. But then you start catching up, and you catch up, and then you hit the wall. And then the wall happens, and then you're waiting, and you're waiting for the next chapter. And then the next chapter comes, and it's not much. And then you're waiting longer, and then the next chapter comes, and then again, and then again, and then again. Even worse if like they have to take a break because of real life things, which I can't blame a manga author ever for because fuck crunch culture. But in terms of wanting to know the plot of this story that you've been following for a while, it just takes even longer to get to the end of it. And the anime is just as guilty. Because it kept going. It kept going. And it kept going. It is kind of the same critique that I had with Fairy Tales Tartarus arc, where a lot of the content is pretty fucking good when you get to some of the fights and some of the other moments in there, but it ran for a fucking while to a point where you wonder, where is it going? Where's it going here? Like, shonen is sadly just guilty of it as a genre in general, of just sometimes having long fucking arcs just go a while. That end up just being things that are better to binge read or binge watch. And then you start seeing, oh, okay. But even when you binge it, sometimes it's just like, oh my god, this is a lot. I can't even imagine. And as someone who still follows several shonens, I have felt that, and I'm like, god damn. It's like what's said in the pocket chat. Like, if the war arc was cut in like half, it would have been a lot better. Would have been a lot better if you just half of it just gone, because at that point it's feeding you way too much cake. It's fattening you up like you're freaking going like all fluffy. And not even the good kind of fluffy where you could just enjoy yourself. Now the fluffy of, man, I've let myself go. Cause fuck. I don't even remember the day where I learned that they were finally bringing over the Naruto Sasuke from Valley of the End, but I'm like, it's finally happening? I actually said that out loud, because for so long I just heard about the freaking the Shinobi War. And then you would not believe the look on my face when it was told that it only took place over the course of 2 days in universe. That is, I know anime has time bubbles out the ass whenever the writing calls for it. Many Final Fantasy XIV players will especially educate you on time bubbles. But all of that over I know a lot can happen in 2 days, but that is some of the most 2 days of all time. And I see Tournament of Power in there, but I'm like, no. You see, Tournament of Power was only there because of time differences, because universe time bubbles are also bullshit, but at least they bothered to tell you why. But again, you could have cut half the arc. You could have, hell, for as much as people were gonna be all like, say that again, motherfucker, I dare you. I'm like, try just seeing how this arc would have gone without the Kaguya shit. Like, try and rewrite it without Kaguya. See how much better it would have been. See how much more you could have cut. Because Kaguya was essentially what people thought Necron from Final Fantasy IX was, where she came the fuck out of nowhere, but she actually did come the fuck out of nowhere, because it builds up to Madara for so long, and he's just this presence, this freaking final boss that would make Dwayne Johnson blush. But no, he's overshadowed by Moon Lady, because of course we gotta have more. I guess I don't even know. I don't even freaking know. It's like Kishimoto really was trying to delay the inevitable of having to like write a sequel because Shonen Jump just wouldn't let him have a fucking break. But even after all that, even after what is probably one of the longest freaking arcs ever, that also makes the Namek explosion in 5 minutes freaking blush to its knees with a bouquet of roses. You finally have the fight at the Valley of the End. You have the Infinite Tsukiyomi just going bye bye, thank God. And then you have the movie, and then you have the real couple last episodes. To which was another good sense of finality, just building up to everything else, and to finally, I mean, even if it was brief in the anime, towards the long-awaited main ship wedding that finally fucking happened. And it was a feel-good moment, and as also was mentioned earlier was how he had Iruka, he was going to have Iruka as like a surrogate father on his side of the altar. I'm like, that is, I love that shit, because Iruka deadass, like, you know, was there for Naruto since day one, so it could not have been anybody else than Iruka. It would have been a riot if it weren't Iruka. From day fucking one, from minute one, that man was a real one for Naruto and fucking believed in him from the start when nobody else fucking did. Iruka is a real one. Always has been, always will be. But I'm also say fuck Shonen Jump, and I'm gonna say the last bit of, and hey, another thing about the ending I prefer over the Shinobi War arc. The ending knew when the fuck to wrap up, because you had the moment. It's just like, oh wait, that was it, and then, I mean, okay, other things notwithstanding, Boruto, it knew when the fuck to end. Plain and simple. You should. I would like bat. You could freaking go back and have the Shinobi War arc take notes. Because my god, I could not think of another arc that ran for so freaking long and just had all this shit. Again, you could say the Tournament of Power, but I don't remember Tournament of Power having no real filler, quote unquote. It just fucking went a while, but that was it. I don't remember no one complaining about the length then. Thank God I still have some of my drink left, because goddamn. I did not think I'd have more to say than drilling the war arc, but fuck it.
Doug, it is your turn. What do you think of the war arc personally?
Man, when I tell you that I was loving the war arc, and then suddenly when that fucking bitch got added to the fucking plot, I mean it. I almost dropped. I almost dropped the entire thing because I was just like I said, I was reading it, so I wasn't really watching the anime for like a good long ass time, and so most of my knowledge is just manga wise, and like the fact that they just randomly put this bitch in there, and they're like, yeah, let's kill Sasuke, let's kill Naruto, and then be like, oh, well, what's gonna go on? And it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make him, uh, have this vision bullshit, get sent to space with Space God, and we'll just have Guy fight Madara and do the eight gates bullshit and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's a willing full sacrifice that I'm okay with somebody dying because they have to die either way. But then they come back and this motherfucker goes, oh, let me put my hand on your chest, and now from the ashes that your fucking leg was turning into, it's gonna regenerate and you're alive again. When I tell you the bullshit that I almost just fucking tossed that shit on the fucking garbage, oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, how the fuck are you just gonna revive? Like, instead, why not just go jump and finish off the dude that's dying? You know, that got hit by the night guy? Instead of just stopping and reviving the other motherfucker. You know? Because the whole point was to kill Madara, and the fact that you are doing side quests before you even fight the motherfucker was stupid. Because, like, you insert this random ass plot that nobody gave much of a fuck about, if we're being honest, because I don't hear anybody talking about Ashura or Indra ever, at all, in any way. And it's like, they get mentioned, they get told, oh, you guys are destined about this bullshit that we just made up here because the Nine Tails were God's creation kind of bullshit. And it's like, fuck. What the hell is all this bullshit? It came out of nowhere. It came out of left fucking field. Now's our gods. They can use the six paths, even though they could have just had been like, oh, Aguaromo's alive now with this fucking old piece of shit. Why don't you just kill your fucking mother instead of giving everybody else stupid power? You know? So it's like, I just don't know what kind of crack he was fucking smoking when he did this shit. I really don't. And I swear to God, he was probably smoking that Shonen Jump pack because holy shit, this whole thing was derailed. The war was going great up until that point. That whole, I want to say it was probably like 20, 30 chapters of just that one bitch. And it was like, I don't care. Even Obito died in this goddamn fight. Like, or fully died in that fight. Like, it's insane how much of just stupid they put into this. And they could have just been like, oh, Madara got weakened enough so we can just fucking kill him. And just kill him. But no. They gotta do all this bullshit. Where like, oh, Zetsu has been an agent for the god for the past 1,000 years. And now he's gonna backstab Madara and somehow kill him because he stabbed him. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is all this bullshit? Like, it's just, it's just, God, if I could just go back and like stab him before he could even do all this bullshit, I would have.
Rocker, it is your turn. What do you think of the war arc?
Honestly, it had good moments. Like certain battles between the Ninja Alliance and the bad guys. Fucking wonderful. But, like, so far everybody said, just the sudden fucking inclusion of Kaguya and that backstory filler nonsense that we got, it just kind of shot it straight to shit. Like I said, it had some awesome moments in it, no doubt. Yeah, we lost characters in it, but just overall, just a second. Just it could have been done a lot better. Instead of interrupting the war arc, excuse me, instead of just interrupting the war arc right at the end, they should have just saved the either A, cut the entirety of the Kaguya bullshit, or moved it to the ass end of the war arc where the fighting's all done, then all of a sudden, oh fuck, new threat to that could new threat that could threaten the minuscule amount of peace that we've got. What the fuck are we gonna do? At the end of this war arc with Kaguya coming in, that would have made a little bit more sense. It would have stretched the story out, allowed some shit to develop more and everything, but yeah, like Ren just said, it could have been a threat for fucking Boruto and the gang after that. But right in the middle of the fucking not in the middle, at the ass end of the war arc, we get this level of bullshit. Yeah, no. But as to the overall ending, I liked it. We got a lot of resolutions on characters. the one thing I liked about it, finally, excuse me, the one thing that I liked about it is Naruto finally. Oh yeah, even forgot about fucking Naruto vs Sasuke Part 2, but I just like how Naruto finally got the ending that he wanted. He got acceptance. He saved the village. He is 100% assured to become Hokage after he's matured a little bit and ranked up from just the lowly genin that he is. And he got Hinata at the end of it. My man got the sweet life at the end. He came out of it alive. 99% of his friends survived. And he gets married. How can you not like that from after the life of infinite bullshit that fate dealt him? And that's that.
All right, so we're moving on to the final two questions here. Well, better get it out of the way now. Any sort of opinions on Boruto whatsoever? You can keep it as long or as short as you want, preferably short, but any thoughts on that? And I will go with Andre first.
Boruto, oh boy, Boruto. Well, I'll keep my thoughts really brief because I've only really watched like 15 episodes of the show. I do know what happens later on that Boruto, they have like a time skip and Sarada gets the EMS. Boruto, I guess, allegedly gets like a new technique and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of Boruto personally. Like, I sort of don't really think the continuation after Naruto will work because like Naruto was like 2 parts. I think it was a long. I think the way Naruto ended, it's like I don't really think they could have like done a follow up series, and I mean they could, but I felt like it just could have been like way after Naruto ended. You know what I mean? Like a couple years, but no, they did immediately once Shippuden wrapped up, and I just didn't like it. I was like, it's just don't like Boruto as a character. The show is literally like maybe 90% filler and 10% plot. I just didn't really care that much because I don't know. It just felt like a retread of the original series, just worse. Will I ever watch Boruto and give it a chance in the future? I mean, maybe one day I'll watch it once like completely done. I mean, I like some aspects of it, like Kawaki. I think he's really the most interesting thing about Boruto right now as a character, but other than that, it's like, nah, I just don't like it, you know? Not a fan of it. It's mid boss, but that's all I got.
I'm gonna keep my answer short on this too. Uh, there's some interesting things going on in Blue Vortex, like, you know, Sadara getting EMS, Kawaki's development, seeing his slow descent into more darker terrain, the flashback that they showed, well, flash forward actually, with the village being absolutely destroyed or no more shinobi is left. I kind of want to know to deal with that, but I feel like it shot itself in the foot because you don't flash forward so far into the future where you see an interesting point of, oh, the shinobi world is finished and Kawaki's like about to fight Boruto, and then you go all the way back, and if you're, you know, seeing the anime, you gotta deal with all the filler, all the nonsense. I heard the manga is like just way better in terms of consuming the content and everything. This is what I heard, so maybe I will try to read a bit of it to see if that's true. But I feel like they have the same issue that I had with the lowest points of the war arc. I kind of just don't care about all these super crazy random power-ups. It feels like they lost the philosophy and soul of what made Naruto Naruto. It's cool to see the returning characters again, But then I started thinking to myself with the way they're setting it up, oh, you basically sort of knocked Kurama out of Naruto, and then you're stealing Sasuke's Rinnegan, so you nerfed them. Now they're probably going to be set up to be fodder to be killed. So you made the original protagonist like kind of weaker in that regard, and it didn't feel like it was done in an organic or impactful or meaningful way. So that kind of pisses me off just a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Uh yeah, I'm not feeling like some of these plot points so far. I do agree with Andre. Kawaki's kind of like interesting, but it's not worth uh watching Boruto. And I never felt that way before, even with the older series, even with Shippuden, to be honest, and that's including the war arc. And I've never felt this way before. So I hope Blue Vortex gets much better. I really do. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic. But as it stands right now, if I were to just rate it off of part one, mid. Like MJF says from AEW. Mid. It's very, part one is very mid, and that's not how you should start an anime at all. If you go back and look at Naruto part one, that was a really strong arc. I cannot say the same for Boruto. I'm sorry. I just cannot. So hopefully it gets better, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Next up is Rocker. What do you feel about Boruto?
I'm going to keep this extremely short. Fuck Boruto. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Damn, well, okay then. Shug, how about you? How do you feel about Boruto?
Feel about the same as the rocker. But I will say this: I did read the whole thing. I just don't care. This this whole thing of them just not using jutsus anymore really just kills it for me. Like it really just feels like that Moon Knight meme of just random bullshit go, you know? And it's just like like they're currently just giving now Sarada her fucking Mangekyo, and it's like, okay, whatever. And then they're like, before that, they resurrected the Nine Tails and then gave it to Himawari, and then you're like, okay, what was the point of fucking killing him off? What is it with this resurrection bullshit? Nothing stays dead at this point, so why even make it all dramatic? And before that bullshit, we have this whole thing of like one of these fucking creation bullshits with the random ass power that if you beg her to do something, it'll change the timeline completely. And that's how we have Blue Vortex. And it's like, why is this even a thing? Like anytime I read it, it's just like I'm not getting into it. Like it does not call to me, you know. And it's like I'm like I've tried, you know. There's 80 chapters of Boruto and fucking 20 or something of Blue Vortex, and it's like I can't get into it. And like I said, I read the whole thing, and it's just I don't know. I think the fact that they just pushed fucking Boruto down our throats with how much of a little bitch they fucking is, and the fact that they changed Naruto so fucking much really bothered me. Like it really bothered me how much they changed him. And the fact that they nerfed the shit out of him. And Sasuke. Sasuke lost the Renegade. But suddenly there's like at least 7 motherfuckers right now on Blue Vortex that have a Renegade. Like this dojutsu was supposed to be fucking like impossible to get. You know? And it's like everybody fucking has it now. And we have this where Naruto is sealed and whatever, and we like kind of reference to that original time skip that they did on chapter 1 of Boruto, where they do the flash forward kind of deal. And now we're to that point where it's like, oh, you killed my father. And it's like, they didn't really kill anybody. Kawaki has them sealed. So, like, we know what's happened. I think even Sasuke is also sealed somewhere because of Boruto, sealed his ass somewhere. And, it's like, why are we even doing half of this shit if the main two that made this fucking thing are not there? They got fucking nerfed entirely. They're not even the supposed gods that they were supposed to be fucking be, because they're supposed to be gods, if I'm not mistaken, according to the war arc. So what the fuck happened to these gods that no longer can fight? Because these fucking aliens are like having random ass powers that just they cannot be beat by anything but time. Time is the only thing that you can beat him with. Like, it is so fucking stupid. I hate it. And I will never watch it. Even if you animate it right now and be like, oh my god, Sarada, fucking Mangekyo Sharingan, she can teleport shit and disappears. I don't care. I don't want to watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. It doesn't exist to me. Naruto ended with the wedding, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, that's it.
These aliens have completely ruined the franchise. I'm just getting that one out there. Completely.
God damn. Just it's turning into the roast of Boruto.
Well, Justin, it is your turn. What do you think about this?
All right. So in terms of the series, I saw a couple episodes, then completely fucking forgot about it because life happened. And the next thing I know, it was like ages after it happened. So I'm like, oh fuck. Well, you know what? Not even worth it anymore. This good here's not even that good. So I'm like, screw that. And then this was before I really got into reading manga, so I didn't even think to do that. So even if the manga is better, I haven't done a single lick of that. The only bit of Boruto I've seen remotely from start to finish in any capacity is the Naruto movie 8, which is, well, called Boruto Naruto the movie. And I think that was, if there was any kind of thing that had to be there in terms of passing down to the next generation thing, I was sort of fine with that one, despite the fact that it was already sort of there were already things that were established that you didn't really get an answer to. It's like, oh, it's like midway through this or that, but he already has a team. He does this thing here, does that thing here. Don't have all the answers, but you know what's screwed. It's like it's midway through a new age of the Hidden Leaf Village and all that crap. But I mean, from the synopsis that I read on Wikipedia, I'm like, what even happened here, and why did it happen like this? Like, again, can you tell that Shonen Jump sort of forced them to make this just a tiny bit? And by tiny bit, I mean held the metaphorical freaking axe to his head for it. Because my God, it's a lot of things here just seem like a total, complete utter ass backwards way of just developing the world and even the characters of yesteryear. Look, I know that age and taxes are the two most inevitable things that keep coming for us, but you don't got to keep putting that on the freaking anime characters, do you know? Yeah, you can have people get older, but you can still have them be badass. I mean, for the love of God, how many freaking older people in anime still kick ass? So why didn't you turn them into a Master Roshi? At least that guy can freaking hulk up and freaking seal you in a jar and toss you over to the side of a cliff. Good God. There's nothing ever wrong with the concept. The concept of a next generation of a universe is not a bad idea on paper, but the execution you cannot flub shit up when you have such an established universe. You have to respect the original. You cannot disrespect the original if you're making like a next generation anything of any property. The minute you disrespect the original, you alienate the same freaking people that you're trying to get to watch your next generation, like, or watch your next generation show or read your next generation like manga. You don't fucking do that. And lo and behold, he hadn't. There were clearly no other ideas here because Shonen Jump said freaking do this. All I'm worried about is see this paper. That's all I want. That's all I want. Now sign. It could have been good, but instead, a bunch of guys in suits said, come now, they'll buy it anyway.
Drill, it is your turn. What do you think of Boruto?
Honestly, like everyone else said, I think it was just completely pointless to have. Mainly because it only exists to just shit on the other characters. Like Naruto and Sasuke are obviously going to die because they already nerfed them heavily, and they're just gonna give like Boruto some bullshit power up just so they can beat Kawaki. And it's kind of weird that they just showed like the elite village being destroyed at the beginning, but they're taking forever to get there. Not to mention like all the power scaling kind of really out of control because now everyone has like bullshit jutsu. Like I think Ada and her brother aren't even like have some really OP power ups, but I don't even remember it because I don't even really watch Boruto that much. I've only heard snippets of it, and even then, I don't think I care enough to even read it. Like, wasn't like the anime like 90% filler,
Yup.
something like that.
Yep, that's why most people say read the manga for it, and even the manga's like, yeah.
The problem is that the manga like takes like a month to get chapters, so you gotta wait a long ass time for anything to progress. And the thing is that their time skip isn't nearly as impactful because at least with Naruto, it actually got you kind of hooked because Sasuke left the village and Naruto is going to train to get stronger. And with this one, Naruto just gets sealed and Boruto has to help him get out. Like really not much else. And then I remember that there was like some jutsu where Kawaki made everyone in the world forget about Boruto or something. Like it just doesn't really make much sense. And then there was that one dude that looked like Jiraiya, and I was kind of confused about it. And yeah, I don't even know what they could really do at this point. Like I guess are there is like Kawaki versus Boruto just gonna be the final fight? And then where do they go from there? Just introduce another villain and then just follow Boruto for the rest of the series? Honestly, they should have just had Boruto take place like maybe like a couple hundred years after Naruto to kind of give it a fresh start, go more back to basics instead of just like continuing the power creep that the series has had. Or they could have just done the prequel idea with Minato. I know people really like the one shot that Kishimoto did of Minato. So why didn't they just do a whole series based on him? Like follow him from a Chunin to Hokage. Or Genin, I mean. But yeah, honestly, like I guess the only things I liked about Boruto was seeing like the older version of the characters and Sasuke actually be trying to be a dad. This which was a bit funny. And it was nice seeing Sasuke actually interacting with other people normally again instead of trying to be all depressed and trying to kill them. That's my only thoughts about Boruto.
All right, we are heading into the final question, which is ranking the arcs. So I will have Drill go first.
Oh damn, you're putting me on the spot. But yeah, for me, like the best one will. I, for me, the best one will always be like the pain arc, and then after that, probably let's see. I guess after that would probably be the Itachi pursuit, Jiraiya. Then when we see the Sasuke versus Itachi five summit arc, Kazekage, and then Akatsuki suppression, obviously, and then obviously the final valley, and then the war arc and well Tenchi Bridge, the war arc and Kaguya. Like yeah, Kaguya's definitely the worst one for me, mainly because it like you already explained it, like it just comes out of nowhere, and the war arc also just takes way too long. I think that's good enough.
Andre, it is your turn. Rank the arcs that you've seen.
I'll go by worst and best. Okay, worst. Okay, Strike Saga, obviously. Let's see. Probably. Let's see. Probably the War arc. Um, let's see. After that, Five Kage Summit, and eventually, then let's see the final. And the Final Valley. Actually, in terms of best to worst, and I'll just do best to worst because getting myself confused. Okay, in terms of best, Pain is number one. Number two, Itachi. Number three, Jiraiya the Gallant. Number four, I want to say maybe the Kage Summit. Number five, the Final Valley. See, the number six, I guess number six probably got was it the Tenchi Bridge, and then number seven the Kazakage, number eight the Akatsuki. Shit. Like number nine, the war and finally number 10 the Kage strikes are yeah, it's a lot, but in terms of the best, I'll give it my top three. It's barely Pain, Sasuke and Itachi, and then finally Jiraiya the Gallant. That's about it. And then the worst is obviously the Kage arc. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, I'm gonna put best to worst, but I'm gonna give some small explanations in the middle. I'm gonna try to keep it fast though. So number one, obviously Pain, because it's peak, it's perfect, it's probably the best example of Shippuden, so I don't need to really explain too much about that. Then I think it's logical to say Jiraiya the Gallant comes next because it's kind of interspersed with the Pain arc anyway. It's just more backstory before leading to his death. So I think as a overall you can just meld these two. It's perfect. It's great. Then I will say the same thing for uh Itachi versus Sasuke final battle, and then sort of his past. Once again, that's going to be 3 for the battle and 4 for the pursuit arc. Because you can kind of say, oh, it's building up the story to the final battle, which makes sense, right? Number 5 is kind of hard for me to place. I'm going to say Akashiki suppression arc is number 5 because it's interesting hearing like how they were planning all this stuff before heading out through the villages. Kazakage is number 6. No. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna say number 6 is the 5 Kage Summit, because there's a lot of kind of cool fights that happen here, but in terms of plot significance, it's just basically Sasuke being a fucking madman, and that's what you're dealing with here. It's crazy. It's insane. You have guillotine drops from the Raikage. I thought it was entertaining, but the absolute idiocy of this man going in there and thinking he could body all those people was insane plot wise. Then 7 is going to be the Kazakage rescue for Gaara, because you get some development from him, which is very much needed. Then I'm gonna go down to some of the other ones. Let's see. I'm gonna say the War Arc is number 8. Again, it has its shining moments, but it's not the best. The ending is kind of yeah. So you mix that in with the Final Valley, the ending. I thought the ending was overall good and fine. So it lingers in that area, and then we get down to the like really bad ones, which I think is the Tenchi Bridge reconnaissance arc. Look, I think it was a strong introduction, but I think this part is plagued with too many flashbacks in the beginning when you're setting up part 2. I just want to get to the moment where it's Sasuke and Naruto meeting again after years, and I feel like it takes too damn long to set things up. And then at the absolute bottom is going to be Kaguya. This was absolute trash. This was I would rather have 10 dogs shit on my lawn than to ever watch that transformation from Madara to Kaguya ever again. I remember seeing it and going, what the actual fuck just happened when he transformed into her? I'm not kidding. My eyeballs almost bulged out of my head. Because it was one of those shocking plot moments that made absolutely zero sense to me when it happened, and it still does, and I fucking hate it. So it is bottom, the worst arc of all time in Shippuden, in my opinion. Rocker, it is your turn. Rank the arcs.
Okay, I'm gonna go worst to best, and I think it's been pretty much a unanimous fucking vote for this. Coming in at the bottom at number 10 is the Kaguya arc, because fuck that. I mean, it was cool getting to see like the backstory, but fuck. Yeah, just no. Excuse me. Then coming in at number 9, I'm gonna have to say the 5 Kage Summit arc. Yeah, it was cool getting to see all the different Kages from all the different villages and their minions and everything, and having Sasuke basically come and announce the start of the 4th Great Ninja War. Cool, but it just didn't do it for me, boss. Coming in at number 8, I'm gonna go with Tenchi Bridge Reconnaissance Arc, the Hibi Sasuke reunion. I don't remember much about that one, because when I was speed watching through all the seasons, I just went through to where I'd have a base understanding and shit. And for some reason, that one, I just cannot fucking remember. All right, that's 7. I'm gonna go with 7. With the Itachi Pursuit arc, it's cool that we got to see his backstory and what caused him to do what he did. But I more like the more action packed bits. All right, 6. I'm gonna have to go. Oh fuck. Akatsuki Suppression. 6, not a 5. And the final one, that 5, I'm gonna put the war arc because, like I said previously, it had good moments, it had bad moments. It was cool to see the birth of the Ten Tails host. But yeah, with the rest of the arcs that we got the Kazakage rescue arc, which I'm just gonna fuck up my entire plan here. I'm just gonna say I like my favorite one is the Kazakage rescue arc because it featured some good moments. But the one thing that I mainly liked is Gara realized he's got fucking friends that he can actually talk to. He's got people who he can consider his equal. And that just hit home with me, if you can understand that. But that I know I didn't rank the other ones, but I'll just say they all tied in the whatever remaining places were left. But yeah, that's my rankings. Sorry if it was kind of all over the place.
No, it's all good. Shug, it's your turn. How would you rank the arcs in Shippuden?
Well, I would say first one would be Pain, the Pain Assault. Just because we all know it's a great villain. Second of all, I would say I switched it up a little bit, so I'm just gonna put the Kazakage Rescue because I just feel like that arc for sure brought a lot of characters out in terms of like Sakura, who never really got a shining light until that one fight, and that's it. Um, Battle between brothers, Sasuke versus Itachi. I think that's possibly another great fight. Would be the number 3. Number 4 is Jiraiya, the arc where he dies. Number 5 would be the War arc. 6 Final Valley, 7 Itachi Pursuit. The 5 Kage Summit is number 8, just because I didn't really care too much about it, just because it's like okay, it's like short. Number 9 would be the Akatsuki Suppression, Tenchi Bridge for number 10, and Kaguya for number 11.
Justin, it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Justin, it is your turn. How would you rank the arcs?
Right, gonna try and let's see. Well, for first off, the absolute bottom of the barrel, kick it out. Freaking crap in his toilet and don't flush. Kaguya. It's pretty much it's not even the bottom of the actual barrel, because at least the barrel you could use it for something. Nah, it's like if someone just took the barrel and smacked it over your head, fucking Terry Funk style. I've changed the rules. Kaguya's the main villain now. You're full of shit. Cause fuck, it's just like Madara's no longer embracing the lawless nature. Kaguya's gonna fuck all you up. These are my rules now. So says me. I was not wow. Terry Funk and Russian our Naruto podcast. Fucking wow. Then I'm gonna go. Fuck it. Just I'm gonna go with the bridge. I don't even remember most of that, which honestly says a lot. To be perfectly honest with you, like just what I don't remember shit about it. If I'll be real. Although again, although the freaking just preface there's just so much shit to absorb that my mind is becoming an enigma. uh, and supposedly I'm told in Pocket Chat that was a spot on impression. Well, thank you. I don't really work on that very much, so I don't know how it was. Let's see. Gonna at this point, I'm just throwing darts on a board. I don't be real, because if I can actually circle around here for sort of some of the top stuff, pain is up there. Pain is up there. So I'll be real. You can say it, people can say what they want about the animation, but like a lot of those moments, pain is up there along with I would say along with Battle Between Brothers, finale, the Kazakage. Because now hearing what the sentiments made me realize, oh fuck, you're right. Gara did have, despite being a changed man for the better, still had his reserves. Because sometimes trying to snap people out of it is a fucking process, and that can actually take years. Good God. Then I'm just gonna keep the war arc also sort of down there. It's not. And by the way, I mean down. It's not after Kazakage. Fuck no, because it could have been if it were half the length. Could have been if it were half the length. But fuck that. This is a very disjumbled ranking. But fuck it. So disjumbled is the definition of this entire freaking franchise by this point. So why the fuck not? So then after that, I'm say let's see. Fuck. What are these names? Then I'm gonna go at sort of Jiraiya as like a right, because that did lean into that. I completely forgot about that shit. God damn. And then the pursuit, and then suppression. No wait, summit. Pursuit, then suppression. I think I got all of them. But fuck it, my mind is cooked by this point.
No, that's all good. It's time to wrap up anyway. So, fun podcast, good podcast. Finally feels good to have it all wrapped up after all this time and so many delays. We about to do our outros.
Yeah.
So Andre, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me at Twitter, Andre B Venom. I'm also on Blue Sky as Andre B Venom. Same thing. Them is Andre on YouTube. I'm actually gonna be going back to streaming tomorrow, so check that out. That's really about it. Yeah, it was definitely worth the wait. I had a blast on the Naruto discussion. Cannot wait for more anime discussions in the near future. This was fun.
All right, I'm gonna do my outro. You can find me on Blue Sky at Operative .bsky.social. You can find podcasts at the Infinite Ammo Syndicate. What I'll be doing is uploading this, while also probably playing more Assassin's Creed Shadows, because I'm really enjoying the game. I'm almost 20 hours in. I also might do some more matches in Bleach Rebirth of Souls, which has been a pretty fun and cool fighting game so far. So, come by and check out the streams, and it should be a good time. Next up is Drillbit. Where can we find you, buddy?
Well, you could still find me on Twitter at Drillbit777 and Blue Sky at Drillbit. Well, for now, well, honestly, I might have to move to Blue Sky fully with the way things are going, but that's another story. And honestly, that's just where I'm really mostly active on. But maybe there's something in the cards that could change this year. Who knows?
Inferno, where can we find you, buddy, on social media? Justin?
Hey, Terry.
God dang it. God, that fucking shit. Holy fuck, what the hell is this shit right here?
Ah, damn. Bruh.
I've changed the rules. I'm the commissioner now.
Okay.
Uh, anyway, yeah, on Twitch, YouTube, and Blue Sky at Inferno Dragon 343, and because Twitter's dead,
Mm,
and nothing of value was lost.
I don't blame you.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. We're donezo.
Next up is Rocker. Where can we find you, buddy?
On every site you can imagine outside of Facebook, you can find me at Rocker666006. And you can also find me every Friday over on our good friend JoJo's Woodshed Friday TF2 stream with him. But I'm everywhere. I'm just not fairly fucking active.
Shook, where can we find you on social media, buddy?
Well, when I can remember to post stuff, I am on Blue Sky at Sugar Bastion. I'm also on Instagram at Sugar Bastion underscore, and also on YouTube, which same name, Sugar Bastion.
All right, and we are going to wrap this podcast up. As far as other anime discussions, I have been getting thrown some ideas. I do have to sit and watch them, of course, so it's gonna take me a little minute. But I think there might be some Yu Yu Hakusho down the road, so probably expect that. That's gonna
Oh,
be
nice.
very hyped to talk about because that's the franchise I grew up with, and plenty others like these new animes that people are watching, like One Piece, that they want me to watch.
Oh yeah, Ren.
Oh God,
Watch it,
Quick one,
Ren.
actually.
Watch it.
Look,
Ren, your whole entire year is gonna be One
Bruh.
Piece.
I'll do
For
it.
real, man.
I'll do it,
Gonna
but
take years.
as I told
What?
Tolkien, I'm not gonna probably finish it because it's like a lot. But
Do
I'll give it a college try.
Bruh.
Yep.
At least
Just so
try
you
to
watch
watch
the
50
tornado.
episodes max.
One Piece abridged.
Just watch 50 episodes, you'll be good for the
There you go.
podcast.
That's all the knowledge you need.
Shit. But we are signing out for the Infinite Ammo Syndicate. Hopefully you guys have fun with this one and take care of yourselves. Later.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Later on.
God damn that voice. It's every time, man.